Okay, so hi you guys, welcome. Thanks for having me. So I know some of your faces but some people are new to me, right?
Yes.
Okay, so welcome, and thank you guys. Thanks Joyce again for having us here.
Oh, you're welcome.
And Carolina, she's been so awesome. You guys who were here yesterday heard my thing. But so let's set you guys up for success. Okay, so we have about 3 hours, and here's mostly how I do it. I give you a little bit about my background, so you can understand where this information is coming from. And then I'll do content about animal communication, telepathy, and then we'll kind of launch into energy healing, but it's all sort of the same content. And then what we'll do is, based on what you guys want, that's what I want to ask you, is you can do kind of asking information about your animals, so you can get some guidance and some clarity about it. But it would hopefully, if we are able to be able to do like a meditation where we can either do healing for the planet's animals in the meditation, or we can do depending on what you want, a meditation where you can connect with your animal. And that's kind of what we'll fit in. And before we do like the practice part, we'll take a quick break. Sound good? Does that sound good to everybody? So let me ask you guys, before we move forward and before I even tell you more about who I am, what's most important to you, so I can get a sense and kind of, because I could spend this like hours, for those of you who know me. So what do you want more to learn about how to do telepathy and animal communication? Like, who's interested in learning how to do it for yourself? Okay, that's a good number of people. So, and then who's more interested in just helping your own animal? And that's okay too.
I'm both. Yeah, both.
Both.
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll understand what I typically do is, because I mean, learning animal communication and telepathy, and then also energy healing, those are like 8-week classes or weekend condensed classes. So we can do what we can do here today. And obviously people make a living at this. It takes them years to get good at it. So for the most part, I want to just is anyone doing it already in some way, consciously? Have you ever been formally trained in it? No. Okay. Anyone ever been formally trained? You have? Okay, good. So, because yeah, I mean, it takes, I get a lot of people come to my level 1 classes and they're like, I've taken 4 classes, I still don't know how to do it. And I get it. It's because it takes a while to develop, but also most people don't teach the way I do, which I happen to think I'm an awesome teacher. So. All right, so before that helps me to know where you guys are all at. So before we get into it, let me give you a little of my background, okay? Sound good for the people who don't know me? Sorry for the people who have started to get to know me already. All right, so you already heard him. My name is Lori Spagna, and here's my kind of story as it relates to animals. So out of college, I did my father's dream for me. Anyone know that story? You start living someone else's dream. And I spent 20 years out of college in corporate America, and I was, hamster wheel. I feel like I was a good slave. I always call myself I was a good slave. And I was doing what I call dying a slow death, because I was so miserable. Anyone feel that way or have felt that way? You guys still in that situation? Yeah, that's not a way to live. It's just not a way to live. It's what's operating there, which is the stuff we talked about yesterday, is what I call a slave driver programming, which has nothing to do necessarily directly with slavery, but we're actually acting like slaves, and we think it's normal because we're looking at everybody else who's also doing it, and we think that's the way we have to live. And we don't know, we can't figure our way out. And that's how I was. I couldn't figure my way out. For 20 years, I was looking for solutions. I would go to my father and I'd be like, I gotta get out of this job. And he'd be like, you stay in there. Because we had diabetes in our family. That's the energy of diabetes. You work. You stick it out. That's the way he would talk to me. So I did that for 20 years. I didn't know how to get out. I kept taking Myers-Briggs tests. But at the end of every night, 12-hour days, 15-hour days, I'd be crying at my desk. Does that sound familiar, kind of? And I'd be like, this is not what I came here. I came here to be of service to animals. I came here to be how do I be of service to animals on a global scale? I just thought I was going to be like a dog trainer, like I was saying global scale, but I kind of had Caesar Milan in my mind. You guys know Caesar Milan? Mm-hmm. So I didn't know what that meant. And then my other mantra was, how do I make God my boss? How do I make God my boss? And the other thing I always used to say was, I want the truth. Because I felt like people were always lying to me. I didn't really realize I was so psychic. I was really psychic. but I didn't know, and I wasn't developed. I was a kid growing up psychic in a no psychic family. Here, eventually to trigger them and wake them up about the truth of stuff, consciousness. But anyhow, so that went on for 20 years, and then what ended up happening was, and I had a dog. She was my favorite dog. I loved her so much. She was my first dog. When I rescued her from South Central LA animal shelter, where they have like the highest kill rate in all of LA, I went there thinking I want to save a life. And so I get this dog, I name her Kenya, and within 24 hours I bring her to the vet, and she's got parvo. Back then, this was 20 years ago, parvo wasn't healable. But somehow, you know, $5,000. But the vet was like, you should bring her back and get a new one. I'm like, seriously? Like that was the solution, right? So I came to save her life. I didn't know what I was asking for with that either. Like, I didn't know I was going to get a dog that was about to die. But anyhow, you know, $5,000 later, which that was a lot of money back then, a week later, she was out and home with me. And that was my dog. And she was like my teacher. I used to hear in my head, without knowing that it was animal communication, I would hear, can you do this? Can you? Can you do this? Can you? And I just think, like, wasn't conscious to know that was like her helping me to see my own gifts. Well, anyway, nonetheless, 20 years later, my brother dies. Fast forward, my brother dies of a drug overdose. Some people heard about this yesterday. And when he died, I started getting messages from him in my consciousness. And I thought I was a little crazy about that, you know. So I started kind of like testing the voice a lot, and like not testing skepticism, but more like humility. Like, did I just hear that? Like, is that really my brother? If that was really my brother, what kind of evidence could you show me? Because I don't know. Like, I think I'm a little... And then things were happening. There were lights, and there were flickers, and then there were orbs, and then I was like, it was one thing after another, and then there was just some stuff that was just unmistakable. One day, the book that he gave me the last time I saw him, Ghosts of Key West. He lived in Key West, Florida. Sticking out of the bookshelf. That was weird. I mean, I'm like meticulous organizer, you know? How could that be sticking out? That's so weird. And then I was like, okay, if that's real, just the same thing. Give me the same thing, and I'll stop testing. And then I'll never forget the CD that he gave me by a band, No Doubt, was on the floor. Same bookshelf. That was just, now I was freaked. And the last thing was, his dog was Herkimer. I'd never heard of a Herkimer diamond. Never heard of a Herkimer diamond. And that was the last stage. I was in LA, and I was like, okay, show me the name Herkimer, and I'll stop testing it, because that name is impossible to see. I'm walking through the streets of LA, and I hear in my head, stop. And I'm like, what? Stop, look up, what? I'm like thinking, because I'm at this point planning to move to Maui. I'll explain that. But I look up, and there it is, Herkimer Diner. That was it. I was done. So at this point, I start paying attention to the voice, and the voice is like, it's not just a voice, it's a lot of visions and things too. It's like, you have to get off this hamster wheel you're on. You're on the wrong path. You're dying a slow death. You don't even see that you're dying a slow death. Understand, at that point, I was smoking 2 packs of cigarettes a day. I was drinking 8 beers a day. I was drinking 2 pots of coffee to get through the workday, and then drinking beer all night to have fun because I was so unhappy. I was doing, what do you call it when you're really miserable and you use your credit card? Shop therapy, right? Shop therapy. I had $150,000 in credit card debt. My thyroid was so off, chunks of hair falling out, chunks. The hairdresser was like, yeah, that's really a lot. Like the sink is clogged. There's bald spots. You know, my thyroid's so off. Because I'm suppressing my authentic nature. That's what this is. For those of you who were in the healing yesterday. Oh, by the way, I just got to ask, who is into the spiritual woo-woo stuff? That's not into it. I'm sorry. Who's not into it in the room? Anyone not? Anyone all scientific? It's okay. Nobody? Okay. So we're all into that.
Go for it.
So, is anyone a skeptic in the room? Anyone skeptical? Okay,
I
that's
say
okay.
go for it.
You said go for it.
Go for it.
Okay, good. Because I love skeptics, because I'm really good at showing skeptics. But okay. So anyway, I'm going to doctors, and doctors have me on like this many pills lined up. I'm not getting the bottles, but the cup could be filled up this many pills every day, multiple times a day. That's normal. All this is normal. So the brother's like, you have to get out of this. You're about to die like I did. You don't even see it coming ahead of you. Your body's dying, you're shutting down. So I took the message. Well, I was married at the time, and the husband wasn't going for any of that. So he was like, I'm done with you. Goodbye. So I'm like, all right. But I quit my job and I became a dog trainer. I'm going to try to fast forward through my story. So I quit my job and I become a dog trainer. I get hired by a guy who spent 20 years working for the United States government training military animals, service dog animals. And when his 20 years was up, he started his own business as a dog trainer. He hired 8 people to work for him. And in the first month, 2 of them were released because he was so rigid in the way he was training. It was his way or the highway, you know, that kind of military type of thinking. And what I was being trained was with these animals in high kill shelters in Los Angeles, and we were being videotaped and critiqued. The first month we didn't even leave the classroom. We weren't even allowed to touch the dogs. Then after that, we were every day with the dogs videotaped, and he would say, you can't think. You have to do this without thinking. So my brain got empty. I'm being tested and critiqued, and while I'm working with the dogs, I can hear them. And they would say, you don't have to do all that. I'm going to teach you. Just listen. Listen to me and I'll teach you. So that's what I started doing. I mean, I couldn't use my brain, so I just hear them telling me things like, I'm going to teach you, and start listening to me. And that's where the animal communication and telepathy started, right? Flash forward real quick and then I'll be done with my story. Now I start getting happy. I left my 6-figure job. I'm only making $30,000. The $150,000 debt is going through the roof. My husband's freaking out. I'm hearing dead people. He's freaking out. He's giving me a divorce, but I'm getting happy. And I'm like, I can quit smoking. He's like, no, you can't. Anyone ever got that? The no's of the world, when you start trying to become more than you were, and they're like, that's not possible. I'm going to quit all these drugs. No. So he freaks out. So I get the message from my brother. I'm like, go to Maui. Okay, I'm going to go to Maui. Pack up everything. This is a year later now. I quit the job. I pack up everything. I'm going to become my own dog trainer and practice some. I didn't even know yet that I could really do animal communication. I was just doing it. I get to Maui. I get into all this esoteric practice. I got my Reiki master. That's where it started as a healer. I start using it with the animals as Reiki healing. And the animals are still training me. I start taking some classes in animal communication, but I was already doing it. Everything they were teaching me, I was like, I already know that. I'm already doing that. I was a bit of a know-it-all. But here's the big thing that happened was, while I was in Maui, this really turned the corner for me. I was on Craigslist because I was like, oh, I'll look for some animals that I can help. I was rescuing animals. I was like acting like I was a not-for-profit. I was broke. I lost everything, right? But I found this woman on Craigslist who was on Oahu, another island. And she's like, we're looking for an animal communicator to help us with a horse. So I was like, all right, I'm brand new at this. I've only been practicing for like a year, but I'm more than happy to practice. And you take what helps, right? I never met her. I never met the horse. I'm like, don't tell me anything. Just send me a picture. She sends me a picture of the horse. And I see just only a face of a baby horse and the mother, only their heads. And I keep like hearing like in my head, I'm stumped. And I think it's my thoughts. I don't believe it. So I write back to her and I'm like, I don't know. All I keep hearing is, I'm stumped. And she writes back and she says, Lori, we had to amputate below the knee. Or did she say that? Yeah. So now I know I'm onto it. So I'm like, don't tell me anything else. She says, please, can you do more? I said, don't tell me anything else. I go back to the horse, and what I get from the horse is, there's bad people around me, they want to kill me. Tell them, go away, I want to live. And I'm like, okay, you know, like I don't know anything else, but I'm like, okay, I'll say that. And then the horse says, oh, by the way, I want some more carrots. So I write back to the woman, and she says, that's exactly right. We didn't know if we should euthanize this horse. We didn't know what was the humane thing to do. So we're done. Doctors were coming telling her they should euthanize. The horse thought they were bad. That was enough. After that, I started practicing it. But I still wasn't charging for years and years. I didn't charge until I started to realize I kept getting more and more feedback, which I could go into the stories for a long time, but that was it. After a while, I started teaching it because I was already doing it. I still didn't charge. The first time I taught the course, I only charged $100 because I didn't know if I was a good teacher. Anyway, I charged $100 for a weekend animal communication class. It's funny. So anyway, that's flash forward. That's kind of my story, and I'm kind of missing out on all the esoteric stuff, but people heard that more of that part of it last night. And then I started to further develop my gifts as a healer and practice, and I started learning energy healing, and animals kept teaching me. They teach us. So anyhow, that's kind of my story in a nutshell. After 2 years, my dog died. I'll say this. Kenya died. We lost everything, but after those 2 years in Maui, I was no longer sick. I was no longer on any pharmaceutical drugs. My thyroid was mostly healed. And I quit smoking, was gone. The alcohol was gone. I was practicing forgiveness work. Banks were sending me letters like, we forgive your debt. And, but I lost everything, and Kenya died. Her mission with me was up, but then she started saying things like, I'm going to still work with you from the non-physical. I'm going to be your spiritual teacher and guide now, and help you connect with animals who have crossed over. So I stayed connected with her that way, and but I was so broken at that point in a way. Like everything was gone, but I was also broken, heartbroken, and I moved back to the mainland, and that's when I really started my career, even though I still wasn't making any money for a long time. But that's my story. So I hope, at least this way, I know it's kind of long, but it helps you understand where all this is coming from. Because I think that's really important for you to understand, like, where is this information coming from? How did I learn? I didn't really learn it from classes. I learned it from the animals themselves. Make sense? All right, so let's talk about what is animal communication and telepathy and how does it work. It's a good place to start, right? So, okay, telepathy is brain-to-brain information, brain-to-brain. So, animal communication is telepathy can be animal communication, and animal communication is telepathy, but there's a lot more to animal communication than just telepathy, right? So everyday humans, let's talk about the brain. Let's start there. Everyday humans, what we are doing is we are using our left analytical brain. That left brain is the brain that tunes into, we make lists, we analyze things, we figure things out. Makes sense, right? Now what animals are doing is using more of their right brain, which is more of an awareness. I always say, this is what I say to skeptics, the left brain is trying to figure out what the right brain already knows. The right brain just knows. So, let's table that for a minute. Let's talk about the 5 brainwaves. How many brainwaves are there? I just said 5.
Is that a trick question?
You're listening.
5, I think.
What are the 5 brainwaves? Who knows? 1 brainwave. Alpha. Okay, what's the alpha? What's the alpha? You guys know.
No.
What is it?
No, I said tough dog, but it's okay.
Okay, that's a misnomer. Please bring that up again so that I mention that, because that is a lie.
What is it? What was it?
The alpha top dog.
Oh.
Because it's correlated to the brainwave, so you're not wrong. People have misinformation on this, so I want to come back to that. So what's the alpha brainwave? What are you doing when you're watching a sunset, lightly meditating?
Relaxation.
Yes, that's the alpha brainwave. What are you doing when you're watching TV? That's the alpha brainwave. So the alpha brainwave, it has one job and one job only. What's the job of the alpha brainwave?
To relax.
To relax. And it does this basically by saying, yes, all is well. That's basically, its job is to restore the body to homeostasis. This is why meditation is real, if only people would do it, and it does work. It restores the body to homeostasis, to peace, and it heals the body. Now, not overnight, but over time. So this is what's so big, though, with the alpha brainwave. It takes information and deposits it from the conscious, which is typically, what percentage of the brain is conscious? For the average person who doesn't meditate, 10%. If you don't meditate, you're only using 10% of your brain consciously. 90% therefore is unconscious, right? So the job of the alpha brainwave is to take whatever information comes in there and deposit it into the unconscious. Make sense? Because you're only using 10% if you're not really meditating. And when you start meditating, it's going to open up the unconscious. But for the average person who doesn't meditate, but they're sitting in front of the TV, what are they doing?
Vegging.
That's right. So what happens when the TV says, do you have mesothelioma?
Yeah, maybe.
Do you need a lawyer? Call your lawyer.
Subliminal.
Right, subliminal meditation. That's the alpha brainwave, and it works. And the advertisers know it, so they show you pretty pictures like goats smiling and children laughing, and they play you nice music, and then they say, get Claritin clear. Yes. That's exactly what they're doing. They're brainwashing you. It is true. And it's true even when you're watching TV in the news, because the majority of people, when they sit in front of TV, are in an alpha brain. This is really important. In an alpha brainwave state, and they're getting brainwashed, and they don't know that they're getting brainwashed. They don't know. But the advertisers, the commercials, the news organizations, the for-profit corporations that run media know. This is important because it's why people can't communicate with animals when they can't, because their unconscious is storing up too much imagery and information that makes them unclear. That's why I'm making a big deal of it. Okay, that's the alpha. What's the other brainwaves? 4 more we got.
Beta.
Theta. Before we come to theta, what's
Oh, you said beta.
Delta.
You said beta.
delta? What's delta?
Sleep, isn't it?
That's right.
Okay.
Everybody uses a delta. We go to sleep, we dream, you're in delta. Easy enough. Unconscious, in a sense. Okay, what else is there? Now we got 2 brainwaves. What else is there?
Beta.
Theta. What's
Beta.
beta? Let's go to beta. What's beta?
You kept saying beta. She's hearing
It's
beta.
all right.
It's okay.
What's beta? Who's taking notes? That's beta. Beta brainwave listens, pays attention, takes notes. I have to remember this. I don't actually have the capacity to know it. I'm in my left brain. If I don't take notes, I won't remember. That's how we're trained in our society. Study, learn, memorize. We're not using the right brain that actually knows. You know everything I'm telling you. But when we're wired into our beta, that's what we are in human society. We are trained through the schooling system to only use our beta. Why don't you meditate in school? You'd already know. You would already know. Why don't you dance in school? This is the right brain. But beta brainwave, you have to take notes. There's a hierarchy. Step 1. Give me the 3 steps to learn animal communication now. These are the 3 steps. Everybody thinks, take a pill and everything will be better.
Oh yeah, that's our society.
That's
for
our
sure.
society. That is a beta brainwave. It's a hierarchical approach. And animal communication does not work that way. So we have to really get this. Our left brain, I'm not saying don't take notes, it's perfectly fine. I take notes too. But I'm saying that we have to start to realize that's why we haven't believed it. That's what I say to the skeptics. Because we're not trained that way, so we don't know. We're not in the right brain yet. But that's a beta brainwave, and that's what it does. Step 1, step 2, step 3, write it down. I won't memorize. I have an assistant. I love her. She's great. But every time I tell her things, she says, stop, I gotta write it down. I won't remember. I say, if you let yourself remember, you will. You do. You will. But she just does. She doesn't meditate. It's okay. It's none of my business. But she writes everything down. Okay. That's fine. No wrongness in that. We're just learning about how we open up to access more, right? So that's beta. What's the next one that we talked about?
Yeah.
Theta.
Theta.
So theta brainwave is a brainwave that humans will not learn unless they're trained. Because there's nothing in our society right now that teaches theta. You have to come to a spiritual kind of environment to learn it, or some kind of meditation. And most people still don't really know how to get into theta unless they're trained. So the theta brainwave is a universal frequency that connects brain to brain. In order to have telepathy, you have to be able to access a theta brainwave. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. So when a psychic is connecting to universal intelligence, or an angel, or an ascended master, they have to be able to access a theta brainwave. They can do it from an alpha, but it's almost like it's hazy. What is it when you're in alpha? Yeah, you're not actually using your brainwave. You're surrendering to no mind. So there's no movement in the brain, you're just at peace. You have to come into that neutral balance. There's no talking, there's no dialogue. It's just, but for people who are learning, they're trying, like, don't think, no thoughts, no thoughts. So it's hazy, it's not clear. Theta is very clear, I'm clear, I don't have to eliminate thoughts. Actually, there's a thought, I've got it. There's a message, I've got it. When you get really good in a theta brainwave, that's an angel not interested, looking for the animal. Animal? Let's talk. We have to get very good at discernment at this frequency. It's practice. Most people, right before they get to a theta, right before they go to sleep, they pass through theta. Anyone ever had that sleep moment where you're like, oh, I just had something, but it's gone. So that's usually what happens. And this is why when people start going into meditative practice, a lot of times they get into theta, but then they fall asleep. Now, like, I fell asleep, but does the healing work? Yeah, it still works, but you fell asleep because you couldn't hold that frequency and stay awake. Make sense? Everyone with me? Okay, fifth brainwave.
Gamma.
Gamma. What's gamma?
It's the manipulation.
That's right, you heard that yesterday. So anyone see spoon bending tricks? Gamma brainwave is where you can manipulate something external to you. Because the frequency of that brainwave is so high, light, pure, strong consciousness that you completely, no interference. There's no telepathy there, you've surpassed that. You're at one with all that is. You're able to hold your brain so still, so focused on one single pure intent that you can manipulate something outside of you. Now, I've been in a room with a group of people where we practiced extensively to flip a table. But that means 7 people holding one thought for ultimately, it was over weeks of time. It's not even a thought. But that's really what spoon bending is. They're holding one knowing to such a pure intent that they're at one with that thing and they can affect it. That's a gamma brainwave. Anyone see the movie Men Who Stare at Goats?
Yes.
Okay, do you remember the scene where the lead character, who's the famous guy, George Clooney, kills the goat?
Yeah.
Okay, he's holding a gamma brainwave in that movie. That is a real, that's based on real government tests. So the government knows all this stuff, by the way, and they use it, but they don't really share the information.
I just have a question about that. I've been in the community for years, and it seems like when people get to that, even woo-woo type people, and they use it for their own personal gain, there's an immediate feedback.
I completely agree.
Okay, that's what I wanted to see.
Because the problem for most
Excuse me, an immediate what? She dreams, drop your voice.
immediate, like a feedback, like something perhaps potentially detrimental, or is that's what you were saying, right?
There's
Or just an
yeah,
immediate.
if you use it without a pure intent, maybe not right then, but within a year or 2 years, it's almost like they begin to lose their gifts or something.
Yes.
Like it could happen to
So
their family
she's
members.
commenting on the purity of the intention, and that is true. And the reason I would add to that, what I would agree with, is that from a spiritual perspective, we have certain kind of inroads or blocks, so to speak, that prevent us from accessing certain frequencies if we use them for harm or detriment. So the person who practices it has to use it with pure intent. So to a certain degree, to some degree, because you'll get eventually locked out, so to speak. This is also exactly why I was spending so much time on these other brainwaves, because people come to my classes a lot and they're like, why can't I do it? I've taken 4 classes, I can't still do it. And they don't understand that they haven't really worked through a lot of these other so-called pure intention aspects of it. Clarification of their own channel. So if you're drinking fluoride in your water every night, and you're eating genetically modified foods, for example, or cursing every night, or watching news and violence, that's going to interfere with your channel to be able to connect in these other frequencies. Make sense? That's not absolutely true, but it's typically true. All right, so we understand the 5 brainwaves, yeah? So part of the animal communication and telepathy means to be able to get into a state where you are consistently good, I'm using the word good, effective, at holding a frequency and discerning the information that comes through that frequency, because telepathy is happening at the theta brainwave state. Everyone with me? All right, now, how else does let's table that. How else does animal communication happen? Because there's other ways.
Pictures in your mind. They go.
Yes?
It
So-
seems like they respond faster to pictures than anything else.
Okay, so that's a perspective. It's not absolutely true, but you are right. So let's talk about this. There are 5 clairs. We call those the 5 clairs. This is true for psychic, animal communication. An animal communicator is a form of psychic. We can use the word psychic because we're using extrasensory abilities. Let's first start. What are the 5 sensory abilities that we all use naturally?
Clairvoyance.
That's extrasensory. Let's stay with our basic.
Sight, sound, taste, smell, touch.
Yeah, those are our 5 senses. So if we talk about extrasensory, it's the same ones. You're absolutely right, John. Sight, sound, taste, taste, touch, smell. Same ones. When we're talking extrasensory, we're talking, what were you just going to say?
With a clairsentience.
Clairsentience.
Clairfeeling, clairhearing, clairseeing.
Yes, all right, so let's go through them. You got it, you're right. Clairsentience, which is clear feeling. Sentience means to feel. So I can feel something if I'm clairsentient. Now, when we're talking about clairsentient feeling, we're not talking about I feel this table, or we're not talking about I feel sad. We're talking about I'm feeling a feeling that feels like wood, but I'm not touching the wood or the table. It feels hard, it feels like wood, but I'm feeling it with my mind. That's psychic clairsentience. I can feel wood. I'm feeling an emotion, it feels like sadness. It's not my feeling. I'm picking up sadness. That's clairsentience. Can we understand this? So clairsentience is I could feel something tangible, physical, but I'm feeling it through my consciousness, not my physical touch. Not my 5 basic senses, my extrasensory. It's coming in internally. I'm deciphering, yeah? So it might be coming in telepathically, or it might be coming in another way. That's clairsentience. Okay, what are the other clairs? Clairvoyance. That's what you mentioned. Clairvoyance, images, you're absolutely right. So if I'm in a meditation, I could maybe be connecting with an animal, and an animal could show me a red ball. I see an image of an animal playing with a red ball. Oh, I see an image of an animal laying on a blue bed. Does he have a blue bed? He's showing me an image. What are you seeing? Oh, I see an image of a wall that has a door. Looks like a door, looks like French doors. Looks like it has a curtain on it. Looks like there's a golden knob there, like a doorknob. Does he live in a room like that? Yes, he lives in a room like that. I see that. Okay, that's kind of what I was seeing. I forgot what it looked like, but there it is. You can see it, right? I'm just trying to remember. In a way, I was remembering, but no, I wasn't. I was asking to be shown that one to explain it. But essentially, if I'm connecting with an animal and I'm saying, what are you seeing? Give me an image. That's clairvoyance. That's a clair. But that's a psychic gift because I'm doing it internally. Actually, I wasn't doing it from memory. I was just asking. Okay, makes sense? Clairvoyance. All right. Clairaudience. What's clairaudience? Hearing. So I could ask an animal, what are you hearing? Oh, I'm hearing a fire truck, but there's no fire truck outside. Or I'm hearing a doorbell ring. You get it, right? Clairaudience. Okay. And then another form of clairsentience, clairaudience, clairvoyance, clairsentience, I forgot this, is smell or taste, right? So maybe if an animal's in a vet, and I could say, did you eat something? Do you taste anything? And I could taste some kind of weird chemical on my mouth. The vet wants to know, well, did you eat something? Did you eat a poison? I could go into a vet. You understand? I could get a taste. That's another form of clairsentience, as is another form of I could smell something. He might send me a smell. Oh, I'm in the field smelling daisies. An animal might be in the field smelling roses. Okay. Now the last one. What's the last clair? Cognizant. I always say 5 because there's multiple clairsentiences. But really, there's 4. Claircognizance. So what's claircognizance?
Just a knowing.
It's a knowing, exactly. How do I know that my animal is safe right now? How do I know? I just know. I don't know how I know. That's the most tricky one, because you don't have any way to back it up sometimes. But claircognizance typically comes through practice. You just start to know things. You just know. Through practice, that one, I think that gets more developed. Okay, so are we clear on this? Now, how do these clairs come to us? Is this helpful to everybody so far? You guys are very quiet. You can ask whatever you want. You can enter. I love questions. So you can ask or raise hands or whatever if it comes up. But so how do we use those clairs? What is it that builds the clairs? Because it's not the theta brainwave. That's not telepathy. That's not a stream of information where I'm connecting at a frequency. I'm getting information in one of these ways. How am I getting it? Come on, someone, anyone. You know this.
Through compassion or through?
No, but that's a good thing to bring up. What is this called?
Oh, through pineal.
Third eye. What is the third eye? What is it? This woo-woo ridiculous third eye that everybody, like, it's so woo-woo that people don't believe. They make a joke of, I'm connecting with my third eye. Okay, here's where I get to say poo-poo on you scientists. It's a pineal gland and the pituitary gland. These are master glands in the center of the brain, at the back of the brain, back here. And they sit inside a cave, which scientists would know this, which is called the cave of Brahman. Why do they sit in that brain? These master glands are protected inside the very depth of the brain because they're master glands. They are the brilliance of the mind. Now, any scientist will confirm it's not your ear that hears, it's your brain. How does the brain hear? The glands in the center of the brain are listening. How does the brain see? Do you see through your eyes? Do you believe your eyes are what make you see?
No.
It's not your eyes that see. They're lenses. They're filters. They allow light in and they block light out. But through the refractory of the lens, light comes in, goes to the center of the brain and registers. Ah, this shade, this color looks like pink. I'm now understanding with my brain. So we're all psychic. There's not a person who's not using their master glands. The thing is that most people are just letting the external world dictate to them what they're getting. Those of us who are opening our abilities to our psychic gifts and our gifts as an animal communicator, ultimately to directly communicate with a specific, unique being in an animal body, are opening up this master gland, these master glands, this third eye. Make sense? Now, this is important. Why do some people not access or are unable, most people, unable to access their third eye, their master glands?
Their heart's not open, or their fear?
Well, that is true. You're absolutely right. That's not the answer I'm looking for at the moment because we haven't gotten to the heart yet, so let's table that and come back.
They don't allow it?
That's true, too.
They don't believe it.
That's true, too.
Because it'll get quiet.
That's true, too. But here's why. Because this
Too
is
much
calcified. It's calcified. What calcifies it? I already said. What calcifies it?
Fluoride.
Fluoride in the water. Why was fluoride added to the water?
Right?
That's a lie.
Twice it's supposed.
It's a complete lie. So fluoride was studied by the Nazis in the death camps. They used it on death camp people. They tested it and they noticed, they studied it because they were scientists, that when fluoride was given to people, they became docile and easily controllable, dumb and stupid.
Same with frequencies.
So it is part of a conspiracy, fluoride in the water. And in fact, I am 100% certain as a psychic that it won't be many years from now. Actually, I predicted this a few years ago. That maybe 5 years ago I predicted that in 7 years approximately, now I don't do it that way, but I know our future does not include fluoride in the water. We will stop relatively quickly. But nonetheless, okay, it shuts down the pineal gland and the pituitary gland. What else shuts down the pineal gland and the pituitary gland? That takes away your inner knowing. It's important to know because when people wonder why can't they do it, I say, are you going to McDonald's every day? Who's going to McDonald's?
Chemo.
Genetically modified foods. Who's the company that creates genetically modified? Monsanto. Genetically modified foods are illegal in every other country, but not in the United States because Monsanto has money. We're really run. So Monsanto has the ability, and with their money, they're manipulating through the media to confuse people about the truth. They're giving false information and lies because it serves the greater good. In their mind, it doesn't serve the greater good, but from their perspective, to keep people dumb and stupid. So genetically modified foods. If you're eating genetically modified foods, that will shut off your pineal gland, it'll calcify it, and it'll interfere with your ability to be psychic, and it'll interfere with your ability to make good decisions. Rational mind gets interfered with. All right, what else? Big ones. Important to know. I think it's important to know. Who uses sweet and low? Saccharin? Equal, artificial sweeteners, diet soda, all that stuff. It's been studied and tested. By the way, who owns those companies? Anyone know? The former, I've got a block on his name. It will come to me. The former chief of state. Chief of staff for the military, Rumsfeld. Donald Rumsfeld?
Oh, that's not a surprise.
He owns those companies. They've studied it, and they've suppressed and denied. So, okay, that is a conspiracy, right? It's time for us to wake up. So, all right, but when we clear, here's the good news. Calcification is a temporary state. Temporary. There's all kinds of other foods and things that will, but those are the three of the key ones. This is very temporary. Everybody is psychic. Is there a person in the room who doesn't have a pineal gland and a pituitary gland?
I have a question,
Yes.
because I want to go back about the water. And I understand, I mean, I hear what you're saying about the fluoride. Like, I drink over a gallon a day. So all of a sudden now I'm freaking out going, wow, does that mean I need to stop drinking water?
It means you need to stop drinking water with fluoride in it.
So from the sink.
Yeah. You need to
So
get a
as long-
really good filter.
Right, so as long as it's filtered, then,
As long as it's a really good filter.
And it filters fluoride because not all filters
Yeah, it needs to filter fluoride out. And, I mean, I would also avoid plastics. Plastic water's no good, right? Because the plastic seeps into the water, and plastics are a chemical. All kinds of toxicity blocks it. Toxicity of every kind. But there's nothing to freak out about. This is exactly what I'm saying. It can be decalcified. This is why people, I mean, in the healing groups we've done, the one we did the other night, for those of you who were there, we opened the pineal gland and pituitary gland. So easy, from my perspective, to open it with a few meditations and healings. Maybe it takes more than one sometimes. But the moment you eliminate those things from your diet, or mostly eliminate them, I mean, water's in everything. It's not like I never get fluoride in my, you eat pasta, if somebody in a restaurant prepared it without filtered water, you're getting some of that water. You just do your best to eliminate it as best as you can, and you actively engage in eliminating those foods and substances from your diet, because on a physical level, you need this part of your body, and you work on opening it up, and you use your divine intention, which is part of what we're going to still get into. You're going to have access to it, and you're going to open it up, and what's going to happen is when you start opening it up, you're like, wow, I see so much clearer. Oh, wow, it's so much easier for me to discern truth from lies. You don't even realize, the people who are in this experience don't realize that they're being lied to. They don't know because they've been so manipulated. They don't even know. And suddenly you start having all these awarenesses. Oh, you're seeing angels. Oh my God, everything's so bright. Oh my God, this is so easy. I never knew I was so smart. That's the kind of experiences we start having. We just can't even believe it. It's much more effortless than we realize. Make sense? Is that helpful?
sure,
Yeah, because we don't need to go in fear. That's not what the point is.
right.
I mean, I don't want to put that out there, that there's any.
I just
thing for us
need
to
a
be afraid of.
clarification, I guess, more
Yes.
than,
Yes, was that helpful?
yes.
Okay, good.
Question about toothpaste then. I mean, I know we're not eating it,
Yeah,
but I mean, I haven't used,
toothpaste is toxic.
right, I haven't used that kind of
I haven't
toothpaste in a
used
long
toothpaste
time.
in 10 years.
Yeah, I mean,
I would recommend essential oils, or
salt and baking
a
soda.
good one is baking soda with coconut oil.
Yeah.
Is good, and then, you can use, flossing obviously and other aspects too, but essential oil, baking soda with coconut oil is really good. In fact, for animals, coconut oil, cleans the teeth, just on your finger, or it's antibacterial, it's antifungal, and they love the taste. Soothing, nurturing, yeah.
If you are psychic, can the toxins distort what you're seeing?
Not eventually, because your frequency is going to become higher and lighter than them. We'll explain this more as we get into the energy. But so far, everyone's with me, right? No, eventually you have to surpass that, because your consciousness says, that's too small for me. That's too low for me. I need to go beyond that. You become greater than it. And then, based on energetic frequency, okay, make sense?
I just have one question.
Yes.
Are you Native American? Did I miss that in your story?
No, I'm not in this lifetime Native American, but I'm
Okay.
certain that I have been.
And just an FYI for people in Oklahoma City, the Citadel in Nichols Hills has never had fluoride in its water.
Oh, that's good to hear.
But it is the richest people, it's the 46th safest city in the world, and it's where some of the highest income is. But isn't that interesting that
That
they
is
chose
interesting.
never to
Nichols
put
Hills.
fluoride in the
How
water?
did they get out of doing it, really? Wow.
It's up to the local municipalities,
No,
as
I
far
know,
as
but
I
that
understand.
suggests knowledge and
They have to filter
intention.
it out too.
It's knowledge and intention.
Yeah.
Fluoride is a conspiracy. There is knowledge and there is intention. So, okay, so let's stay on topic. So now we understand how animal communication works from brain to brain, and that what we in our bodies are using this. Let's talk about left brain, right brain, heart. So we talked a little bit about that. Humans right now have been trained through the schooling system and our society and our culture, and there's greater reasons. There's no badness. We're not making people wrong, especially for people who were in my group yesterday. You know, it's not about wrong. It's about us learning and enlightening ourselves. So we're not saying, because some people just didn't know. I mean, people in everyday, for example, just talk about the fluoride thing, the people in everyday water, you know, they're just following the directions that they're given. They're being told this is okay and safe, this is what it does. People who make toothpaste aren't sitting there saying, let's stick to fluoride. They're like, okay, this is what we're told, and we're taught to do this. We're paid money. Someone up more senior is teaching us this. We believe it. That's the directions we follow. They don't all know. We don't know. And we're all learning. We're coming out of a state of where we haven't known into a state of knowing and learning and receiving this awareness. We can't improve our lives and our world until we become conscious of it. And that's why I like to use these platforms for us to learn in a safe environment. And ultimately, you all get to use your discernment. I'm just here. That's why I gift it. It's gifted. You could say, screw her and the handbag she came in with. That's up to you. So, all right, but let's talk about, in schooling system, we are trained left brain. We're only using the beta brainwave. The thing that awakens the right brain is obviously meditation. What else awakens the right brain?
Movement.
What was that?
I said movement.
Movement.
Nature.
Movement without having to follow steps. This,
That's left brain.
left brain. This, right brain. Big difference, right? Okay, what else awakens the right brain?
Nature.
Nature, yes. Music that you love. Not music that says boom, 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 boom. Now your left brain's engaged and you're following the beat. Unpredictable, just beautiful, not trying to analyze, right?
Well, the words, if you listen to music and you follow the words, it's more left brain.
It's a slightly more left brain, yes.
As opposed to if you really hear the sound and the music and
Yes.
the rhythm of it is more right brain.
Yes, that's why in sacred dance, if you go to sacred dance, or 5 rhythms, or sweat your prayers, which I don't know if you guys know what that is, but when you go to dance classes, they play sacred music. It's just for you to move and not have any active listening to words. Okay, so all those things open the right brain. Art, an artist who's just letting the art express through them, that's a right brain. Meditation, of course, we said right brain. So all of those things open up this right brain. Now here's what the left brain is analyzing. The left brain's analyzing, making lists. I have to do this, follow the orders, step 1, step 2, step 3. When the fluoride goes in the toothpaste and the toothpaste goes down the assembly line, when the bottle gets blown hot, the next thing is the water comes in. It's assembly line thinking. It's a lineage, it's a patriarchal society thinking. That's how it's hierarchy. That's all left brain activity, yeah? Do math, do science, memorize, that's all left brain. So this woo-woo stuff that opens up the right brain, this is why skeptics don't know, because they haven't practiced it. But the right brain experiences. It knows already what the left brain is trying to figure out. So what is it with animals that's different. Animals are already predominantly using this. They don't go to school, they don't have to study, they don't have to memorize, they don't have to make money, they don't work for a boss. So they're not using this, it's not that they don't have it, or that they don't use it, it's that they don't use it the way we do, and they're much more using this, and in fact they tend to be much more balanced overall. So this is the left brain for a dog. She got the keys. Oh, I heard the keys. I heard that sound. When she gets those keys, I hear that ring. She's walking to the door. Oh, the leash. Oh, she grabbed the leash. I'm going out. That's the left brain working with the right brain, working together. The body is responding. It's not an analyze, okay, when she gets the keys next time, I better get ready and get by the door so I'm there so she doesn't even, they're not doing that. It's just, keys out, yes, okay, but sometimes keys might mean she's leaving me, so I'll go stand. But they're not analyzing and calculating, they're just knowing. It's that much, right? So that's kind of how it's working. It's left brain's balancing with the right brain, collaborating. This is why they're more in harmony. Now, I'm going to go to the heart center. Go ahead.
Don't they get it, like, instead of, I mean, I know that you're simplifying it for us, but, I mean, to me, I would think that they know the difference between if you're getting the keys, that they're going out, as opposed to you going in the car and leaving them, because you're giving them so many other signals that they're hearing.
Yes, absolutely.
Right? Okay,
I'm simplifying.
so,
You're exactly right. I'm simplifying, but they know because
They'll know
they're
the difference.
telepathic.
Yeah.
So they know if your thoughts are thinking, all right, before I go, I need to put the water in the bowl. And before I go, I need to just put a snack in the bed so that they'll find it while I'm gone. They're picking up on that too, but for the purpose. Yes.
My dogs know where I'm going based on what I put on.
Yes. Why do you think they know that?
Well, I mean, I've had therapy dogs, and I have a therapy dog, so there's
Well, why?
certain
But from a
outfits that you
psychic.
wear. They just, I mean, they know because they watch me and they pay attention to me and.
Okay, so if they just know, what Claire is that?
Cognizant.
Claircognizant. So already they're using a part of their brain that just knows. So they're getting some information dumped into their awareness that's coming from your consciousness. You in your mind are saying you know it. You're making the story in your brain. They know it by the clothes, and that may be true. But the human brain makes the left up. When I put these clothes on, they know. But really, they're claircognizant. Right, they're picking up. So you're writing the story of why they know. This is what we all do. We make up a story. But that's part of the picture, but it's a lot more. Because they're much more full in their brain. Make sense? Okay. What's the part of the heart? By the way, let me go back to your comment on alpha. The alpha dog is what dog trainers say. He's an alpha dog. Dog trainers say if it's an alpha dog, he's the most dominant. Isn't that what they say? The alpha dog's, that's not true. The alpha dog is the dog that's able to hold the alpha brainwave. He's at peace. His body's in homeostasis. And because he's at peace, he's balanced in his left brain and his right brain. And he says, we're going to do this, let's go. It feels good and right. Everybody else says, that feels good and right. He's balanced, he's at peace. He's calm. He's a good leader. We're going here, follow. Feels good, feels right. Let's go. But dog trainers don't know that.
Most don't.
He's holding the
Right,
most dog trainers. I think people know because of the internet. More people are learning. And also Cesar Millan because he got on TV, and Victoria Stilwell if you know her. So anyway, okay, so. All right, so let's go to the heart center. So you said earlier compassion. This is so true. I gotta check my time. How am I doing? I'm good. So, heart center. What goes on in the heart center? I know nobody knows what answer I'm looking for. So the heart is actually magnetic, right? Science knows this. In fact, we owe such a debt of gratitude in humanity to the Institute of Heart Math, who has made that company, the Institute of Heart Math, has been studying the correlation between spirituality and the work of the heart. In fact, I got studied by them where they put nodes on my brain, nodes on my heart, to see how quickly I could get into my body into homeostasis through meditation, and how I could sync up with other meditators to get into heart coherence. Isn't that amazing? And they're studying all this. So what they have scientifically, they're studying it in a scientific way, how meditation affects us, our body, our hearts, our brains, the body, etc. And what they have documented scientifically is that the heart has brain. Isn't that amazing? The heart has brain cells. So we always thought our brain was up here. But actually, as we start developing our heart and working with the heart, we have intelligence there. So in school, we're taught only, give me 1 second, to use our left brain. That's everything we're being taught in school, children are being taught, is how to overdevelop the left brain. We're being completely, essentially disengaged from our right brain, and there's nothing going on there about the heart. The only way you can develop the heart is to meditate and to come to places like this to learn about, or you can learn about the internet, but you have to actually engage it. You have to do it. So, okay, the brain though is electric. We know this scientifically too. So what does the brain do? It's like those poles that, send out radio tower. Sends out information, pings some other information that's like it, pings back. It's electric. Electricity. The heart is magnetic. So anyone like the law of attraction? You into that? Law of attraction stuff?
Sure.
So the law of attraction is like you're going to attract to you. They're missing a whole bunch of other pieces into it there, but based on the magnetism of your heart. So if you're feeling happy, you're going to attract more things to be happy about, right? That's all that's magnetic. So if you're thinking about something that makes you happy, you're going to feel happy, and then you're going to attract happy things to you, right? But you're the one radiating out from you, law of radiation. All right, so animals are already doing that. Their heart's already open. They're already using the brain of their heart. That's why you say animals are unconditionally loving. But they know they are, and they're in their heart center. We actually have to activate our heart center. We actually have to practice. I'm not going to think those thoughts. They're really not loving. No. I'm not going to fight them or resist them. I'm just going to drop everything. So right now, let's do a quick little practice here. Everybody put down your pens for just a moment. And I want you to just sit, and I want you to start thinking about anything that bugs you or bothers you, what you're going to do, your list of things to do. Just start doing that. And thinking what she's saying, think how you got here, think about something that bugs you or anything. And as you're thinking this, keep thinking this. In a moment, I'm going to start counting down from 10 to 1, but you just keep thinking about whatever you can think about something crazy or ridiculous or the news or the craziness. And as I start counting down from 10, the moment I say 10, I just want you to intend, we'll do it before I start counting, that everything from your brain that you're building up in your thoughts, your analytical mind, drops into your heart, and that you're free of it. So in a moment, I'm going to start counting down to 10, but right now let's intend. You're still thinking. Let's just intend that after I count from 10 to 1, all your thoughts are going to drop into your heart, and that you'll be at peace. You willing to do that with me? Okay, so you're thinking.
Clarification. You're asking us to think about something unpeaceful.
Just thinking right now, just think. Just let your brain get a little static. That's all. I just want some thinking activity. Thinking. Just thinking about the fluoride, thinking about whatever. Think how fast she's talking. It's annoying. I can't keep up with her, whatever. And now I'm going to start to count from 10 to 0 backwards. And during the time, you're just going to drop all your thoughts into your heart. That's all. You just keep, during the 10 seconds, drop all those thoughts into the heart. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, drop it all in the heart. 4, 3, 2, 1. Breathe. Dramatic, right? Can you see how dramatic that is? Can you feel the difference? 10 seconds. Oh, I don't need to talk anymore. It's so peaceful. Can you feel how quick we can achieve peace if only we let our heart do the thinking? It stops thinking. It just feels peace. It feels peace, it feels love, but it knows you had all those thoughts. You just chose to drop them down by breath. The heart took them all in and transformed them immediately to peace. Yes, I changed the way I was talking, but we all did that in the room. We're all that powerful. If we would allow ourselves to let the brain in the heart do the thinking. It just thinks peace and love. So animals are always doing this naturally because they don't have to analyze. That's why they're so loving and forgiving, because that's what the heart does. The heart is compassion. The heart is love. The brain of the heart thinks and feels magnetic love, compassion, forgiveness, peace. Those are the predominant frequencies. Make sense? Joy, happiness. It feels all those things. Okay, we good? All right, any questions on any of this? All right, good. So this is how animal communication is basically working. It's either communicating telepathically, brain to brain. It may be giving some kind of image, or sound, or smell, or sensory feeling, or just a knowing. It may just, sometimes animals just drop information. If I'm communicating, I get what I call a brain dump. Okay, I've just got a whole dump of information. Let me make sense of it. But understand, I am nothing more than a translator. I'm nothing more than a translator. So if you go to the UN, and there's a translator for the French people, he's translating the person on the panel who's speaking, and he's got to translate. He has to do it precisely. He's not allowed at all to misinterpret. And he can go through tests, years of study to learn how to translate effectively. The problem with animal communication is that we don't have that yet. We don't have that kind of schooling. It's still, in the years ahead, it will become that scientific in a sense. We'll combine the science so we become better translators. But I just want to ask you, right now, let me find something good. Yeah, I'm gonna use this. I'll just use this. So I would like to ask you 1 or 2 words. What is this?
Card deck?
Okay, 1 or 2 words. What is this?
Box.
Box. 1 or 2 words?
Inspiration.
Inspiration. And I'll ask one more person. What is this? Cars. Okay, so we got 4 different answers basically. So we're translating. I'm a dog. I'm showing you an image, and we got 4 different answers. But which one's right? I mean, they're all right. But I mean, whoever said inspiration, that's like an interpretation. And a card deck, I mean, that's kind of the obvious. Someone else might have said Abraham Hicks. You know, this is what I mean. We're learning to be effective translators. So if a dog shows me, or a cat, or an animal, any animal, shows me, this is one of my most famous examples because it came up in one of my classes. We had communicating with an animal, a dog, and the dog gave the group an image of a baseball bat. I mean, it was very clear. 5 different people picked up the image of a baseball bat in the room, 10 people. And one person said, you know, I'm seeing a baseball bat. I think maybe they went to a baseball game last night or this week, or maybe, and then another person was like, I think that they wrote it down so we couldn't miscommunicate in the class. This is how I train people. So they write it down, and then when they share what their findings are. Another person said, oh, I think the family likes sports. Another person said, I don't know what, they all said something different, but the fourth person said something like, I think that this animal was beaten up, the bat, because and I thought, isn't that interesting? 4 different people translating 4 different things. This is the hardest part about being an animal communicator, because we don't know our own blocks. How do we perceive an image of a baseball bat? What does it mean? So in the level 1 class, I'm kind of a stickler about this because I want people, in order to build good translation, we can't add our filter to it. A bat is a bat. A baseball bat has no other meaning than the meaning you give to it. So the interesting thing was 5 people in the level 1 class picked up the baseball bat. I didn't give them any information, and it was that the person the night before, when he gave, or not, the week before, the human sent me the picture. He had said something like, I feel like we've been beaten up. We've just been beaten up with baseball bats. So they're not getting it wrong. They all were getting it right. But their interpretation was the problem, or the challenge. Make sense? Mm-hmm. So that's where it gets really challenging, even for psychics. This is a big deal, because I could see a green light and I could be like, I'm seeing Archangel Michael, and meanwhile the green light's an orb that's some kind of, you know, who knows what? I mean, this is a million things it could be. But as we expand and open these centers and practice over and over and over again, that's really how we get good at it. I need to say one other thing I forgot to say earlier that's really important. I'm just being told. What is our skin? Has anyone ever gotten got goosebumps? Okay, that's an extrasensory form of information. In fact, there's lots of scientifically documented tests, that might have come out of the Institute of Heart Math too, where they put nodes on the things on the skin, played music silently, inaudibly, and the person could identify the song through the skin. Isn't that fascinating? So our skin hears and receives. By the way, who likes creams and things? If you don't eat it, don't put it on your skin. If you won't eat it, all your hand creams and lotions, this is my point of view, take it or leave it. If you won't eat, like I use coconut oil, that's cool. Or I use like a product called 100% Pure on my hair and my skin. I love them. Everything is edible in the product, or essential oils.
That's what it's called, 100%.
Like crayons?
It's a great product line.
Crayons,
Makeup,
okay.
everything. You guys will love it. Get it online.
Well.
It's more money, but I mean, you know, so is being sick. Anyway, if it's on, goes on your skin, you're receiving it, your body's eating it.
Question about the brain and the heart. Is that possibly why animals sometimes get the same issues as their owner? Because
Yes.
they're, okay.
You're dovetailing exactly to the very next topic
Oh.
I'm gonna say, which is perfect timing. So, okay, but anyone else, is all this clear with everybody so far?
It's the East Coast.
Yeah, it's the East Coast thing. So, okay, so let's talk about energy. What is?
Excuse me, you never said what the skin was. Is it, it's a
Oh,
boundary?
I did, it's an organ, you're
Oh, it's an
receiving
organ.
information
Okay,
through it.
receiving organ.
Yeah, when you get goosebumps, it's because you're like, oh, something's significant. Your skin is saying, this is significant, pay attention. That's why when people go, goosebumps, it's not woo-woo, it's real. So the animals have that too. They get information coming through the skin. So that is your form of information, your filter from the external reality that's filtering through you. The form of exchange of information, right? Coming through the skin. So that's another form of extrasensory communication. All right, so let's talk about energy. So what's the language of energy? What's the language of animals? What language do animals speak? I used to lead in with my whole.
I was gonna say energy.
Yeah, I mean, I gave it answer easy. I used to start, years ago, I used to start, what language do animals speak? And people would be like, huh? What language do they speak? Animal?
Dog.
No, do they speak the language dog? No, they speak the language of energy. And energy is a universal language. It's universal. So in the old reality, for the people who were here yesterday, third dimensional reality, we speak a language, French, German, Italian, Russian. That's the only language we speak. And that's it. You speak verbal language. Everything else is woo-woo. But in the new fifth dimensional reality that we're shifting into, everything is the language of energy. And energy is a universal currency. It is the universal currency. So we're just starting to wake up that money is a currency of energy. And if you're out of alignment, you'll be poor. If you're taking more than you're giving, you could be poor. If you have no sense of self-worth, you might be poor. If you're not being of service, you might be poor. Like, there's all kinds of reasons why you might be poor. Because it's teaching us, money's teaching us. It's a form of energy exchange that's helping us to learn. But animals already know this. They already understand the currency of energy and everything they do. It's a universal language. I've called it for years. In fact, when I used to be just only doing really dog training in my early, I say, learn to speak wolf. The universal language of love. It's a universal language of love. And it's all based on energetic expression. So when you walk into the house, for example, and you're singing, la-di-da, I had a great day, I'm so happy. Your bird starts singing because he feels that energy. And if you walk into the house and you have a stressful day and you're like, oh, I'm exhausted, I don't want to make dinner, I'm just in such a bad mood, and you turn on the TV and you watch CNN because that's just the vibration you're at, that's the energy you're at, your dog's like, come out. Cat goes hide under the bed. Make sense? Because he feels your energy. Now, why is that? Why do they feel your energy? Why is that?
Your energy enters the room before you do.
mean, this is the thing about energy. All energy travels at a speed. What is the speed of energy called? Frequency? Yes. Yes, that's exactly right. And that frequency, what is the frequency of the energy? It's a vibration. So how do we identify, in our language, a frequency of a vibration of energy? The speed of the speed of energy is the vibration. The vibration of the energy is the speed or frequency that the energy travels at, right? This is all too left-brainy. It doesn't matter. Let's get to animal language. I'm translating it, but the truth is, how do we identify the energy?
You can identify frequency by color, one way.
That is one way. You are correct. And what if we were identifying it by color? What is the energy of yellow? You could see it in your mind. You're right. But let's get a little more specific to their language, because that's an aspect, just like what we were saying, clairvoyance. You're absolutely right. That's an aspect. But let's get it really specific to our language, because we don't say, oh, I speak yellow. We speak a language that correlates to energy, because it's a universal language. And yellow is an energy. But, okay, what's this language?
Emotion.
Joy.
Yes, joy, excitement. What's this language?
Sad.
Sadness, right?
Yeah. And now if you feel sad, everybody just for 2 seconds, I know it's not that fun, but just feel sad. Feel sad for a moment. And you notice you're thinking, you have to think about something sad to feel sad, right?
Yeah.
The thought goes first, then the body starts to feel sad. Now let's think about something happy. And you notice your body language changes. It just feels different. Happiness feels different, right? Okay, this is the same thing. This is what animals feel. They feel the energy. And we can define it as a universal language of emotion. Isn't that what Einstein said? Energy equals emotion. In motions, just keeps going. So I could take your sadness today and I could say, there, I love you. I know you're sad, but I love you and you're okay. Mommy might do that. And she's now transmuting the energy of the sadness into reassurance. And then as a child gets reassured, she says, come on, let's go to the park and play. Let's have a good day. Let's make it a good day, even though. And then suddenly the kid's at the park, and now he's having a good time. She's transmuted the energy. The mother did the healing for the child, right? And then if that happens enough time, the child learns safety, right? Same thing. You come home, and you're stressed or depressed. The animal feels it. The animal says, oh, let me see if I can make her happy. Comes up, licks your face, he's happy. He's only carrying the energy of happiness. He's already happy. That's his natural state. He's in his heart. Of course he's happy. This is where happiness sits. He's not in his left brain analyzing things. So he comes home and he's happy. He wants to kiss you. And in some way, because he's so sensitive, he feels that sadness or that depression, he might take it on a little bit. He does, in fact. And if it happens over and over again, before you know, the cat or the dog is also depressed. And maybe even has heart problems. Because there's been so much sadness and so much grief for so long that this heart no longer has enough room anymore for happiness. Because the human's so depressed every day. Can you see how that could happen? It's in fact what does happen.
Is that why they shake it off after you play with them?
Sometimes it could be, yeah. Freeing up their energy, yeah, for sure. But understand that every energy correlates, could be easily identified as an emotion. Yes, it can be identified as a color. It can also be identified as a sound. Because the sound of happiness sounds kind of like this. And the sound of sadness sounds like this. And the sound of anger sounds like this. And they feel that and perceive that the same ways. And if we are carrying it from our life and we walk into our home, they're picking up on it. And I always say, animals, what's an empath?
Somebody who feels.
They're the ultimate sponges. Because they're not analyzing, they're not paying their bills, they're just feeling what they feel. And they don't judge. We, in our left brain, are judging everything as good, bad, right, or wrong. Is this the correct time? Okay, I'm good with time. So we judge it, good, bad, right, wrong. They don't do that. Anger is just anger. Sadness is just sadness. They don't sit there saying, she shouldn't feel sad, she shouldn't be mad, but they say, that energy, maybe I can somehow take it on. Maybe I can shake it off. So they take it on and they feel it, right? And then they often express it too. Maybe it is through shaking it off. Or maybe the fear that's in the house, maybe the family has great fear, or they're afraid of money, or they're worried about money, or they're worried about some problem in their life, and all that fear, they carry it with them, or they hate their job, maybe, I don't know, and they come home every night, I hate that job, and then the animal's feeling it every single night, and they don't have a park to go play at necessarily, or meditate somewhere, go off, take Saturday off and go sit in the park and meditate, or go swim in the beach and let the ocean heal them. So they're taking it on, and before you know it, there's an illness. Potentially. Make sense? So this is what the biggest thing is to understand, is that the animals that we share our home with, these are pets, not wild animals, but the wild animals do it for the environment too. They do the same thing, only different. They feel the energy around them, which is directly connected to their human. They absorb it much like an empath, because they are the ultimate empaths. Essentially, they're sharing an environment. Who knows Bruce Lipton? Okay, what does Bruce Lipton say? Everything's 100% environmental. That's what he says. He's a cellular biologist, right? He's a scientist who's uniting spiritual truths with science. We love him. We're so grateful for scientists who are waking up, because they're improving our world so much. And they have such a voice that even scientists can hear. The skeptics can hear the scientists, because they don't come to woo-woo places. So someone like Bruce Lipton, we're so grateful for him, right? And he says, it's 100%, your cellular makeup is 100% environmental. Well, same is true for the animals. Their environment is affecting them. What's in their environment? The human that they live with. So energetically, they absorb what's going on with the human, and they take it on, and then before you know it, they're expressing that which the human is repressing. Make sense? This is energy. So when an animal, for example, has, let's talk a little bit about the health stuff. And then in about, let's say 10 minutes, we'll take a break. Is that good? How are you guys doing? Have you kind of had enough information, or you're still good with me? Everyone's good?
Good.
Okay, good. So, where was I going?
Bruce Lipton.
Oh, let's talk about a little health stuff. So we talked about the heart, right? Because the heart center, we know, let's say this. We know, what are the chakra centers? What are the major chakra centers? What's one? Chakra one? Root. What does the root chakra do?
Ground.
Okay, what part of the body does the root chakra control? This part of the body is all controlled by this energy center. Now, you don't have to be spiritual woo-woo to know that this is an important part of the body. If something's wrong here, I either can't crap, I'm holding it in, right? Can't walk, my legs will be, this is all root chakra. So you can say it's woo-woo all you want, but if you don't recognize that this is an important energy center of the body, and something, if it's not working here, is going to be reflected in the body, because this energy center here is blocked in some way, because I'm either anal retentive, sticking it up my own butt, or I can't let things go, because I'm too control freak. I mean, that's what's going on here. Or I'm afraid to move forward in life, and I can't walk, because something is going on, right? And I'm holding that energy because of what? My thoughts. I'm afraid to let go. 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 I'm tightening up here. I'm angry. I'm angry. I'm angry. My knees are locked. Or I can't move and flow. Now suddenly a person has arthritis in the knees and constipation. And before you know it, they have colon cancer. I'm angry that I have to let go of this. That's what that is, right? Now, the animal in the house may be empathically taking it on. So the human might walk around being fine. You have no idea, because in our society, we've learned everything's fine. The weather's beautiful, everything's fine. How are you today? I'm fine. But really, you're fine. You're not fine. But meanwhile, the animal's at home, and the animal has colon cancer. Can you see? This is the truth that humans don't want to know. We don't want to hear it. It's very upsetting. It is. But from the purpose of the animals, from the mission of the animals, they're helping their human. They're helping their human to show their human what's out of alignment. and they're healing their human. There's 3 missions that animals have. All animals. What are the 3 missions? Who knows? Anyone? One?
One's gotta be love, somehow. No?
Well, yes. Okay, let's say the first one is to heal their human. To be healers. They're healers. So even if you're a whale or a dolphin in the ocean, you are healing the waters and you know it. They have big brains, they know. Echolocation, whale songs, high-pitched frequency. Song has a vibration. Love songs are whale songs. Love vibrates through the water and heals the water. Whales know that they are healing the water. So do dolphins. Echolocation is pitches of love. High-pitched frequencies elevate the frequency and the vibration in the water gets healed. They are planetary healers. By the way, for those of you guys who like my stuff from yesterday, I'll just say they are, we could very well know as animal communicators that they are not originally from Earth. We could easily know as animal communicators, when you get really good at communicating with animals, they don't lie. And when whale after whale and dolphin after dolphin says they're from Sirius A or Sirius B, you start listening. These guys are from another planet, come to heal our waters. Okay, so they're healers, that's the first role. What's the second role of animals? Anyone else can guess?
Teachers.
Teachers! Where did I learn this stuff from? I didn't learn this from another human. I can tell you that. When I started hearing other humans teach it, like years later, I was like, how did they learn that? Like, I thought I was the only one who knew that. And then I realized, oh yeah, the animals taught them too. Because I really thought I was the only one who knew it. You know? Like, I thought I was, like, when I first started teaching, I thought my stuff was so brilliant. Nobody knows this stuff. It didn't occur to me that they were teaching other people too. So yeah, they're teachers. And I mean, if you communicate with an elephant, in fact, the big pachyderms, well, elephants, rhinos, and hippos. Hippos and rhinos are slightly different, but the elephants especially, they're storing up the history of Earth. Those big brains, they have the true history. If you really want to know the history of Earth, talk to an elephant. In fact, an elephant can scan you and know everything about you because they have what's called the Akashic Records stored in their consciousness. So you guys know what the Akashic Records are?
Yeah.
Sorry, I just need to bring us back to some Stacy's because I upset some people. Like, I mean, I know it's upsetting to hear some of this stuff. Not like people got mad, but it's just hard, right? Whenever I'm in a room with people, I can always know when we're all hard cohering, and sometimes we're not always hard cohering. We have to, some people hearts are opening. So there's people in this room whose hearts are opening, deeper love. Some of you know who you are. But either way, I always know because my heart gets irregular, and it's not mine. It's because the heart consciousness of our room is raising. That's a good thing.
I just have a question about the elements. I know they're matriarchal, but for a while there, they were dying off. It's because they were not being separated. What's that? Have they healed? Has that healed? I mean, I know they're teachers, but you know, for a while they were dying off because they would separate. Only one zoo would have one elephant. They have to be together.
That's right. Well, because most of I'm going to ask about that because I have an answer, but I know I only have a partial answer in my knowing. Okay, so elephants, part of the reason that was going on is because they were like, yes, heartbroken, but also helping to teach humans about that they are conscious and sentient. So through the separation, they became aware that if they would die off, that they would help humans to learn about their consciousness and their sentience by being absent from one another. This would bring more consciousness about the sentience of animals, which is a huge part of what they're teaching. Is that helpful?
Yes, and I think if they're teaching it, I think, yeah. Thanks.
Yes. So elephants store up. I one time was in Africa with my family, and my natal family, they're very 3D. Yeah, you guys understand what I mean by that term 3D? Mm-hmm. Unconscious, I'll say, right? Very unconscious. And there's no judgment, right? It's just people are waking up, and some people are choosing to just repeat their old patterns over and over and over again without becoming conscious about it. So in any case, we were in Africa, and I was really, really challenged by, it was hard for me to be around so much unconsciousness. I couldn't really be who I was, you know? But I wasn't even aware of that. I was just struggling with like, okay, I just have to be happy to be here. Just be happy to be here. Just be grateful to be here. I was trying my best to do that. But I was lonely, you know. There's an aloneness when you can't heart-to-heart connect with someone. That I am a person that likes that heart-to-heart connection, deep connection. So anyway, we're on this incredible safari, and in that moment I wasn't feeling bad. I was excited. This incredible safari. I was maybe a little more than a couple of arms lengths away from a massive elephant. I mean, it was really close because she was just eating. So we were, you know, right off the side of the road, and it's all open. And we stopped, you know, we were safe from a distance, and I just got right in the eye. I was so lucky, and I was just in so much awe. And in my awe, I hear, remember who you are. I couldn't believe it. I was just like, oh my God, like this elephant knows me. Like is speaking directly to me, and that's exactly what I needed, because I was forgetting. I was like with these people, and I was really having not in my joy, in my heart center of joy. And this elephant knew exactly. It was amazing. That's heart opening. That's so beautiful. So they know. Anyway, okay, so let me move on. So there are our teachers. What's the third way that animals help us? Or the third mission of animals is what I mean.
Unconditional love?
Well, I mean, they're doing that through their teaching and through their healing. No, they're having an experience like we are. They're gods in bodies like we are. We are all gods, aspects of the Creator, creating itself to have unlimited experience. And so these beings that we think of them as just animals, but actually what they are is aspects of Creator saying, I think I'll have an experience like this. What would it be like to be here? What would it be like to be a healer of the waters, in the waters? And like Creator's in all of us, creating experiences for us all to enjoy and have, for it to enjoy through us. We are the ones that allow Creator to create in physical reality and to have an experience. We judge a lot of them as bad and wrong, which there's some things that happen we'll never be okay with. I'll never be okay with abuse of animals, but I've learned how to be neutral so that I can change it. We can talk more about that in a minute. But the point is they're having an experience. Make sense? Okay, any questions, comments? Yeah.
Extinction?
Well, most of what's going on with extinction is two things. Number one, animals are collectively trying to teach us how to care for our world better and how to care for one another and what's healthy. So they're making a collective agreement, yeah, to teach us. Oh, I just got to mention animals in the afterlife. I'm getting that. And then number two, what's happening is a lot of them are saying this frequency of this reality is no longer supportive of me. So this frequency, this vibrational range, I'm going to come back at some future point where the vibrational range is more aligned with my love, my joy, my happiness. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Because the frequency of Earth is changing. So do you guys, what is the measurement of the frequency of the Earth?
9 something.
It's much higher than that. What's the frequency level? What is the measure of it? Schumann's resonance, right? Do we know what that is? Does everybody know what the Schumann's resonance is?
No.
No? Okay, Schumann's resonance, Wilfred Schumann is a scientist, not alive anymore, who in the 1900s started measuring the vibration of the Earth, and he was scientifically calculated, and in the 1900s it was a single digit, something like 7 or 9. And since then, it's been measured by scientists since, even though he's not still alive, but they named it after him. And now the resonance, which is the vibration of the Earth, is over 30, up to the high 30s. And a lot of people would like to put, this is conspiracy, I'll introduce here this aspect of, because they like to confuse people and tell you Schumann's resonance is a lie. And you can't measure it and it's not true, but that's deceit. Because we know that the measurement of the vibration of the Earth is increasing. This is because of all the meditators. And in fact, it's also well documented scientifically that there's specific places on Earth where monks live, and there are huge monasteries, that the frequency is higher in those areas. No humans, no civilization, but monasteries. Isn't that interesting? And where do you think the lowest frequencies of the earth are? Big cities, and in particular, places where there is war.
Where there's what?
War and fighting. So that's Schumann's resonance. Now, where was I? How did I get to that one?
Well, I asked about extinction. So.
Yes. So some of the animals in areas where the resonance is so low and where there's an awareness that them departing could lead, their leaving could assist humanity, they're choosing in mass to leave as a sacred contract to help humans to learn. But they also have an awareness in another dimension, they can come back in another body. They're not as attached to their body. So this is another great segue to the afterlife, yeah?
I do have another
Yes.
question, like about Sasquatch and stuff. Do they just kind of come in and out of our dimension? I mean, because that was what I thought. I thought that they just move on to a different dimension with extinction.
Well, that is true, but not necessarily true for extinction. That's like an ultra-dimensional
Okay,
question.
okay,
So
okay.
there are portals of the earth, certain portals, for example, the Bermuda Triangle, for example, all the major chakra centers of the earth, if you're familiar with these terms. I teach about this stuff, but I don't usually bring it into this class. It's fine, I love questions. These portals are often dimensional doorways, just like what you're saying, into other dimensions of reality. And that is true. And Sasquatch, to answer your question, those kinds of Bigfoot creatures many times have that consciousness. We believe they have that consciousness, that they're just in and out through portals. And there is that truth. I do agree with that, although I don't know for a fact, and I've never actually communicated directly with the Sasquatch, so I don't have that on my own authority. But from my higher consciousness and connection psychically, that's not a telepathic piece of information, but psychically I know that. I feel like I know that, I can say, with the knowing. But also I have another knowing that some of that is from scientific experiments of crossbreeding and inbreeding, so there's another aspect of that too. And that those beings were just, they didn't know what to do with them, so they just kind of dumped them in the woods and they've learned how to survive. So, and they're breeding experiments from, including some of our star family races from other planetary bodies who have that ability to be so extrasensory and teletransport. So that's what I'm even hearing now. Does that make sense? Okay, that's pretty esoteric stuff, but I think everyone in this room can kind of vibe with it, yeah?
Yeah.
Does that make sense? All right, so let's talk about animals in the afterlife. So we know, I mean, in a room like this, we're pretty aware, like I think we can all come to a consensus, there's no death. But we're having this experience in a physical reality that we define a third dimensional reality. And for as long as we maintain this physical body, we're here to have physical experiences as an expression of the divine. And that when the body drops, we literally do kind of, our consciousness leaves this reality, and now suddenly we're in a non-physical reality, but the consciousness that inhabits the body vehicle continues. Can we agree? I mean, that's our, whether we know it or whether we believe it, if you're in this room, you either believe it or you know it, to some degree or another, right? So same is true for animals. When their physical body drops, they're basically going into a non-physical realm, but they still identify as that unique being who just had that experience, and they will continue to stay alive as a conscious, unique individual being who just had that experience living with that family, and they tend to stay around that human or that family for quite a while until eventually the human starts to realize they might not even be conscious, they're not thinking about them as much, or they've kind of recovered from the grief or the loss enough that that being can say, you know what, I think my work to help them, to stay with them, to continue to teach them or heal with them or guide them or whatever it is that we signed up together for, I think I'm ready, I can move on now. And then they either reincarnate, choose a new body, they might come back to that same human if that's agreed, or they might go to a new family, or they might choose a new experience. And we do that too when we leave. We'll hang around our family when we leave, and we kind of have some experiences, maybe give them some signs, help them to awaken, like my brother. That was one of the big things with my brother Jeff. He was like, I'm stuck here. I just committed suicide. I don't know how. I'm in this range of just a lot of dark crap. I need someone to help me find my way. I'm trapped in what's called, anyone ever hear of the Tibetan Book of the Dead? The Bardos? What does religion call it? Purgatory. So it's true, there is that. It's a range in what I call fourth dimension, which is a non-physical realm. And it's like Grand Central Station in there. Where you going? I don't know, I can't find my train. Where am I going? I have no idea. There's just shit everywhere. That's kind of what Jeff was like. There's just stuff everywhere. I don't know where I'm going. I don't know what to do. But the one thing he did get was that if he could be of service and get through to me, and that through my exploration, I would somehow get through to someone who could help him find his way to the light. This is what happens all the time. When I started waking up, I had dead people from coming everywhere. Dead people. Help me get through to my human. Help me wake up. Help me. You know, you hear stories about that. Like, did you ever see Ghost, Whoopi Goldberg?
Yeah.
There's dead people everywhere. She's like, it's so funny. It's true. Now I don't get dead people so much. I mean, I use the word dead people because I think it's funny because maybe I'm being a little insensitive, but in truth, it's like they're not dead, and animals are not dead, and the consciousness lives on, and until they're ready to either progress and find their train to the next place, or their work here is they feel like there's not as much of a purpose for me to stay in this unique. I'm going to either remerge as an angel, or what am I going to transform into? And that's the same thing as E equals MC squared anyway, right? It's just this energy transforms into a non-physical energy, hangs around, maybe transforms again. Einstein had it right. The consciousness continues in perpetual motion and just transforms. So this is why it's very easy actually to connect with animals. And because who have crossed over, especially recently, because they're still around, and they stay around that human until the human doesn't want them anymore. Not that they don't want them, but the healing is kind of complete. They're ready to move on. And then even still, you can still connect with them. A lot of animal communicators say if it's 12 years later, it's too late. I don't agree with that at all, because animals are much more in their consciousness than we are. So we all exist eternally as a consciousness. You can continue to connect with them, even if they've reincarnated, and they might even have more awarenesses about where they are now in their future, where they go to, where their soul so-called progresses to in terms of linear time. Make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Same is true for humans. I'm just asking what else I need to say on this topic area. It's important to say that, I just wanted to channel through. They were going to channel through, but I have to say that. So it's also significant to say that many people in the human reality think that animals are trying to progress to become humans. And I completely disagree with that, completely. I believe that's born out of a human egoic identity based in hierarchy, the old patriarchy, hierarchy. So even in ancient India, they really believe that, but I think that's just their knowledge system that's based in an old system that we don't know. I don't believe in that whole karmic thing. Karma is nothing more than cause and effect, really. But if we have belief systems ingrained in our unconscious that we get punished, we might create karma because of our belief system that you get punished for bad things. But that's not really true. You can clear that belief, right? Okay, that's another topic for another workshop. But nonetheless, animals, I've never ever, I'm sorry, I have to rephrase that. I used to say I've never ever, and then I did a few times. But very, very rarely have I ever met an animal who said they wanted to become human.
I can go like,
Yeah, almost always. They just want to choose humans who will really love them or really need them or where they can really help. Or sometimes they're like, I want a life off. I just want to have a great life and enjoy my life with a human who doesn't really need me but really loves me, treats me well. Like that, my dog right now, I swear, that dog has the best life. It's like raw, organic, all natural. She gets walks every day, like 3 hours a day of run, beach time, play. She comes everywhere with me. She traveled, this is the first time I didn't bring her anywhere, somewhere with me. Well, she's with my brothers at his farm. He has a farm with 4 dogs, who she loves. I mean, it's this dog, and she doesn't really, I sometimes tell her, you have to earn your keep. Give me some kisses. Come snuggle here with me. You have to earn your, she's just having the life. I mean, I swear. And she's like, I had it very clear, like only recently, that this dog is from Sirius. Want to have an experience in the human world, but doesn't really want to be a dog or a human, just wants to know what it's like, and she just picked someone that she didn't have to do anything and could just enjoy and have the best life she could possibly have. I'm amazed how I even ended up with this dog.
I have a question. What, do you have, and I know this could get into a lot of questions, but what about a dog that goes, or an animal that goes missing?
Yes.
And that you don't have the closure?
Yeah, I'm glad you asked that. Animals typically go lost for 2 reasons in my experience of communicating. I teach a class called Locating Lost Animals, and I don't really do lost animal cases anymore because of this reason. There's 1 or 2 reasons. One, they really want to cross over, and they live with a human who either won't or can't euthanize them, or won't or can't let them go. Well, they're willing to let them go, but the humans doesn't know how to handle their death, can't handle their death. And so they're like, I'll just go off and lay down and just let myself die. Because they're not as attached to the body as we are. They know they can just come back. That's one reason they get lost. They need to leave. The other reason they get lost is there's always a sacred, everything's sacred contract. Everything is a sacred agreement. So they go off to get lost to help their human learn something, which often has to do with either energy, learning about energy, becoming more conscious, or responsibility. The human's irresponsible. But I'll give you an example. This dog, the same dog that I have, I brought her back from Maui when I moved back. And I came to Los Angeles and I stayed with a friend. I had 2 dogs at the time. When I was in Maui, I had a lot more dogs. But anyway, Kenya died, and then I had Dakota and Kiko. And I'm staying with my friend, and I'm out looking for apartments. And I found the most wonderful apartment, but they only let 1 dog. And I realized on my manifestation list I wrote dog friendly. It was dog friendly. I didn't say we'll take 2 dogs, right? But I learned, this is part of what I learned. I realized, oh, I see, I didn't ask specific enough for what I wanted from the divine. Gave me the perfect apartment, only takes 1 dog. But when I was in there, I was like, oh man, if only I had just 1 dog. 1 misthought. I missed a thought. Mistake of a thought. If only I had 1 dog. I didn't mean for 1 to go get lost. I get out of the apartment and I'm like, you know, what a bummer. Perfect apartment, won't take 2 dogs. Kiko gets lost. I get in my car. I don't know this is happening. My friend calls me up. Lori, Kiko ran out the door. She got lost. I can't find her. I've been running for 20 minutes. I can't find my dog. Your dog. She's gone. I'm freaking. Now, it's a good thing I'm conscious enough. I know I miscreated that. I am smart enough. I pay attention to my own thoughts. I just had that thought. The dog just got lost. I pull over the car. And I know how to find a dog, too, fortunately. This is all sacred contract to teach me. To become a better animal communicator, of course. Sacred contracts. I'm learning through my own mistakes, right? I don't like that so much, but that's the way it went. I do my manifestation. I align with the timeline. I understand timelines. This is all stuff I'm not going into today. We don't have time. But I call her back home. I show her the way back home. This is a half an hour it takes me to get from where I am home to my friend's house to now. I'm driving like a crazy person to get her home. The moment I pull in, the dog runs it. Why do animals get lost? To teach their human a lesson. Or, energetically, something's out of alignment. The person in that moment is like, I wish I didn't have an animal. They didn't mean it. I didn't mean it. People who lose their animal typically don't mean it, but maybe in their household, they're like, I have too many expenses, I can't afford this house, or maybe they say, I don't want to have an animal, they don't mean to think those things, but the animal picks up on it, and sometimes they're like, I'll just go get lost, I'll find a new home. Make sense? Of course, when people are searching for their animal, they don't mean it. It's usually not on purpose in that case, but they do it nonetheless, unconsciousness.
Is another one of their missions then, is to sacrifice themselves for us? Would that be considered a mission, or, because like,
On some occasions that will happen, but if you talk to a pig, for example, pigs are trying to teach us that their free will matters, and we're breaking the law of free will. So in a way, there's a contract that they'll sacrifice, but it's not because of choice, conscious choice. It's because of unconsciously we made an agreement to teach you about free will. And then if you communicate, they'll say it's against our free will that you eat us. I never eat pigs. I had a conversation with a pig once in Maui. This is an interesting story. This pig, he's like, hello, how are you? I live on this farm. Everything's fun. They treat me so nice. I love it here. I live on this farm. And all of a sudden, my brain wanders. I forget that I'm in dialogue with this pig. And I'm like, geez, I can't believe I could eat them. And he goes, no, done. Like, all of a sudden, this anger comes out. But he's not angry at me. He's just, he knows his boundary. Goes to the other end. I'm like, I'm sorry. Like, this is all going on telepathically. I didn't mean to insult you. Oh my God, I was loving your girl. No, you tell people it's against our free will to be eaten. We do not agree. I didn't eat pigs at that time anyway. But, yeah, because that's why I could go into that judgment state. I can't believe people eat these animals. So, no, they're not really willing to sacrifice. In fact, I will share this here, but I hope I've been asking, should I share this? And I'm kind of torn on sharing this a little bit, but the cows of the world are pretty pissed off. So they are willing to self-sacrifice at a point not so far in the future. Think mad cow. They want to teach humans that they must stop doing what we've been doing, the way we treat them.
well, we feed them
Especially
GMO
their
foods.
offspring. What?
They get fed GMO foods.
Yeah, they're pretty pissed off, so think mad cow disease. They're mad.
What about
And this is not over. The humans in the future will not be eating cows. How is that going to happen? Now, okay, I understand we don't all experience one timeline. So not everybody has that kind of experience. But in the future where humanity is waking up and everyone's becoming more conscious and more sentient, which we are on that, there's a collective timeline for that. On that collective timeline where we experience humanity becoming more compassionate, more caring, eating healthier, choosing more love and caring, animals become more sentient, conscious beings with free will choice, where free will is honored. The cows are saying this is not okay. What happens on that reality to teach the collective, stop eating us, stop treating us so inhumanely, stop taking our cows and our babies at birth, sticking us in a box. That's not okay. What do they have to do to teach us that? They're willing to self-sacrifice. Mad cow.
What about chickens?
Okay, in my communication with all animals in farm type situations, in the past, the last few years, I used to hear, like the thing chickens say is, I'm happy to share my eggs with you, but don't take the fertilized ones. You know, I'll lay eggs, treat me well, make me happy. I'll share my eggs with you, I'll share my wealth with you. But if I have a baby, let me keep my egg if it's fertilized. So that's cool. I eat eggs that are unfertilized. My brother has a farm. He separates the chickens, and then when they want to mate, he has a separate one with roosters, and he knows which ones are fertilized. Those hatch. He doesn't touch them. So I'm okay with that. Me personally, not a vegan might not be. We have a choice. I don't eat cows. I haven't eaten a cow since, I don't even know, 12, when I found out what happens to veal. I don't eat pigs, I don't eat rabbit. For me personally, that's my choice. As an animal communicator, I can't do that. But I have eaten fish. I tell you what, I got from fish. I once was on a dock. I already ate fish at the time. I don't know why, it just was I was okay with it at that time. And I was sitting there and there were these fish at the surface and I just was like, wow, how do you guys feel about being eaten? I never asked. And the answer I got was like this, although it wasn't exactly this, but this is how it translates. Well, we eat each other. And so after that, I was like, I'm okay with fish as long as, it's responsibly, ethically fished. But I mean, I hope people are humane. I see fishermen in Florida all the time, and they're heartless. They rip stuff out, they don't care, they throw. I think Where's your compassion? The fish is in a bucket flopping around for its dear, like, just be compassionate to this living being. It's not that much to ask, okay, you're gonna eat him, but he doesn't have to sit there suffering. So, I don't understand half of it, but I don't understand the lack of compassion, but that's what I'm here to change for me. That's why I'm here, part of why I'm here. Anyway, okay, so, but farm animals, most farm animals, even a few years ago, cows used to say, you know, it's one thing if you eat us, but at least let us live a good life. Treat us well, don't do all these things to us. And we've got a lot of success. Oh, I gotta tell you this. Now I'm starting to run along. We've had a lot of success with better treatment of animals, no more, because it affects humans. No more sticking of the needles in them, you know, you're starting to see more, no antibiotics, no fake hormones. That's starting to become, thank God, more grass-fed. Thank God, right? Some small successes here. But let me tell you what the animals say. This might push some buttons. I like to kind of push buttons in a nice way, kind way. Who are the worst animal abusers on the planet, according to the animals? I say it like a joke because I don't have a trigger on it, so please, I'm triggering you, but to expand consciousness, and hopefully you won't get insulted. The worst animal abusers on the planet.
Science,
Humans.
animal research.
Man,
Let's get more specific, of course they're humans.
man.
This is be bad.
Animal lovers who post pictures and share stories of the torturous treatment of animals.
Thank you.
Those are the worst abusers.
Absolutely.
Yes, thank you for agreeing. You get it.
Yeah,
Because
it's
what
all with
happens,
me.
if you post that picture on Facebook of the animals' horrendous suffering, do you think an animal abuser gives a shit?
No.
No, he just looks and doesn't care. Who cares? The people who care. So you see a picture like that and you're like, oh my God, this is so terrible, it's so terrible. So now what have you created in the reality? More of that. Law of attraction. You've just created the very thing you don't want. So the one thing animals say to me over and over and over again, tell humans to stop posting, especially, did you ever see ASPA commercials? They're the worst. Sarah McLachlan, in the eyes of a stranger. And you're looking at these eyes of this most horrible, suffering, miserable dog, and you're like, you just go into pain. I have had times where I'm keeled over in pain, crying, because I can't, and I had to learn. I learned that through that way of that pain, that's what I had to find a way to help people to realize we can't do that anymore. We have to use our consciousness. The way we're going to help the animals, that's why I share it in rooms like this, because I feel like we're here, we might feel a slight pinch, but we're becoming conscious of it. We're realizing, we're strong enough in rooms like this to make this kind of a change. So we say, I'm not going to ever share another terrible thing. I'm going to instead share how happy I am that there's no more hormones being injected. How happy I am that there's more, go grass-fed. You know, that kind of thing. Like share the success. That's what they say. We want more of that. So what pigs say about not being eaten. Okay, I'll share that. I'll share stories about that so people can learn. That's the way to promote consciousness, to share what we want and the great stories and the funny stories that they share and that kind of thing. Make sense?
Mm-hmm. Quick question about the abusers, because I know you come from Florida, right? You live in Florida
Yes.
now. Didn't they recently pass a law about animal abusers and crime sentences?
I don't know because I do not pay attention to any laws.
So anyway, I mean,
I don't break laws, I just don't pay attention. I don't watch news, I get
Okay.
everything from source. Like even in Florida, they have all this stuff anti-gun, it's all conspiracy, all the shootings, it's all conspiracy because the people in power want gun control. They don't want masses to have guns, so they're planting these horrible shootings. I'm sorry, it did happen at Oklahoma City too, didn't it?
Yes.
Bombing. Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
I do believe that was a conspiracy too, I'm sorry. But anyway, okay, but to answer your question. go ahead.
well, so that, I mean, do you know how the animals might feel about that? I mean, does it help the animals if the abusers actually do get locked up?
Well, the thing about that is I never asked animals about that, and again, I don't really know so much about that, but I understand that's based in a system that's collapsing.
Right.
So that system of punishment is still an old system that really has to change. It's not about punishing, it's about rising up out of it, looking at that and saying, wow, we had an experience of unconsciousness, and we played with the darkest shadow, and we all had aspects of that in us, and even if we see it in someone else, it's us reflecting some aspect of ourselves that we haven't healed or resolved. If we're in judgment, resistance, reaction, we have to kind of rise up out of that, align now with this whole new system. The new system, this is what I did in my other group events, which we'll tell about right before we break. But this new system is based on the frequencies of love and peace and forgiveness and understanding and transmuting that energy so that the suffering and the judgment's no longer there. E equals MC squared. We transmute it, and what's left is the love and the peace and the forgiveness and the acceptance. We accept that that happened. We accept it. We're no longer in judgment of it. We're not trying to punish. We're asking these people to change for the better, and we're willing to help change by being of service, by bringing enlightenment, by sometimes pushing buttons, but by healing that same button that we just pushed, offering some kind of healing or understanding, forgiveness, transmutation of some kind, so that that no longer has to happen. So that's what I understand, is that the animals have that consciousness, that they're not asking for punishment, in fact, because punishment just creates more suffering anyway. They're asking us to become more conscious, to align with a higher knowing, and to heal the wounds that would create such suffering in the first place.
See, that was the other, when I asked about sacrifice, that was a question about, do they sacrifice themselves again? And then I guess it is about lessons, because then if they sacrifice themselves to be beaten, and then it raises awareness.
Yeah, I mean, you could, in that way you could say sacrifice. I just get concerned with that word sacrifice because humans then turn it into, we get to eat them for our benefit. No, we don't get to just, in this reality it is true, everything's allowed in 3D. You wanna be a rapist? Have at it. That's what goes on in unconsciousness. You wanna be a thief? Have at it. There's still universal laws governing. If you stole, you will be stolen from. That's law of cause and effect. That's law of reciprocity. Those are universal laws. That's law of one. You're one. If you steal from someone thinking there's someone else, no, you're one. You're all that is. You're going to get stolen from. If you lie, if you cheat, you're going to be at that frequency. That's just the laws of this reality, whether we know them or not. But in this reality, we get to play with unconsciousness. So therefore, if you're unconscious, you can do whatever the F you want. There's going to be consequences.
And I guess
But the sacrifice, that idea of sacrifice, to me, the way you're meaning it is more like, I would translate that as a sacred contract.
yes, it's like, I love you so much that
I have a sacred contract to assist you in your consciousness expansion, in your learning. What is that beeping noise?
My hearing aid.
Oh, okay, okay. Thank you. I just didn't know. I know. So I have a sacred contract or sacred agreement that we can both somehow benefit through this experience. This benefit is both going to be an experience that we've never experienced, or we don't know how, and through the resolution of that experience, we're going to expand our consciousness. So we make an agreement. But that's not so much of a sacrifice. I suffer, you benefit. That's not okay, really. Not really anymore. Certainly not anymore. But it has been in unconsciousness because everything was okay. Does that make sense?
yeah.
But really, to me, it's all sacred contracts and sacred agreements that we make in the non-physical realm with one another so that we can learn, grow, experience, evolve, transcend, and realign with Source ultimately through the expansion of our consciousness. Make sense? Okay, I have a time. So let's take a 5 to 7 minute break. But right before we do, could I just say, oh, I guess I can say that when I come back. But Christina, do you want to make some announcements before we go to break, just to tell people anything that they might want to look at?
Right after they come back, because I feel like we have to go.
Okay. All right.
Oh, you beat me.
So, I tend to buy a lot of my,
I so want to hear your questions. Will you ask it afterwards? Because I need to take a
absolutely.
thank you. Yeah, I gotta do it. I didn't say anything food-wise. I would love to say a couple things food-wise for animals, if I can remember.
lack
Really?
compassion
Yeah.
for humans.
So,
I
I just got my pots. What happens?
You see a lot of
Did you hear
I've had
very,
that he was like,
No,
going to
it's-
attack
it's-
somebody
you have to look into.
During the last call?
No, at the class.
So I found
He
it.
got very uptight.
Oh, and there was a colleague who said that he did that with somebody else. Because he wouldn't be able to talk.
Many years. and-
They could hear that kind of language, just let them know, like when you're in,
You know, just.
like if you're AA or Al-Anon, or something, I was saying, talk to them so much a day, or they talk to Al-Anon, trying to talk to the
So much.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what I thought, but.
That's what he said. He said, why you talk like that? Yeah, he addressed it right there in front of her.
All right, are we ready?
That's what he said is the reason that's why he talked.
That's what I did say that.
Okay, here we go.
Ready, you guys?
I want to hear what she does.
It was effective.
It
It worked.
Here we go.
I don't baby it at all.
Okay, so before we start, I just want to say a couple things. First, I did not bring a lot of these with me because I didn't want them to crack in my suitcase, but there's 2 of these double CDs of Animals in the Afterlife, and you learn a lot about exactly what you were asking, animals and sacred contracts, sacred missions, and what happens in the crossing process. It's actually fascinating. I have a whole course on this, actually, Animals in the Afterlife, and connecting and communicating with them in the non-physical. But in any case, there's 2 CDs here. They're double CDs. They're normally 40. Well, Christina, you can help Christina with that. Now there's one because somebody just claimed one.
Okay.
And, but they're double CDs. They're normally 40, but we're doing them for 30. Is that okay? So now there's one left if somebody wants it. I would have brought more, but anyway, all my CDs have sold out. I have a lot of them. Developing your psychic gifts and learning animal communication. Telepathy, I have to reprint them, but these are the last few that are left anyhow. Okay, then the other thing, we have no more private sessions today, right? Only, they're all taken?
They will take it.
Okay. So I don't usually do private sessions, but if you're wanting a private session this week, we can fit in some space on Tuesday. We have a few small spaces on Tuesday, a few spaces. As long as you register today, it's $200 for a 30-minute private session, and it's either for you or animals, whatever we can do in 30 minutes. We do healing, energy healing as well, whatever comes up, whatever you need. The other thing I want to say is events. So next week, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, we're in 2 places in Tulsa, right?
Yes.
Carolina? So if you want to do more with me, I mean, 2 of them are animal communication things, but 2 of them are all about ascension, the shift, and we do healing and meditation for the people who have joined me for 2 of those already. You guys like those, right? It's radically different from today, right? Very different, all different content, all different energy healing, but it's really, you'll love it. So if you want that, there's flyers, right?
Yes.
Carolina can help you with that. And this form right here, wait, let me start here. Anyone interested in possibly joining us for a crystal journey in Arkansas? Well, if you're interested, there's 2 spots left. We go, that's at the
September.
end of, second week of September. Sorry, she knows better. Second week of September, and there's only 2 spots left. We're going to Mount Ida in the middle of a national park. We rented some cottages on the water, the lake over the crystal bed that you can swim in. And we're going to be digging for crystals and also doing meditation and healing and grid work and amazing work. You know, the crystals are star family races basically, and they activate the DNA when we learn how to work with them, and they're very conscious living beings that we can interact with when we learn about them. Anyway, for those of you, as long as you're on my newsletter, I'm happy to gift you my crystal class I just gave. 90-minute presentation, really great stuff. You can learn about that. Then, the other thing I want to say is a couple other things. And we'll say more of this at the end, but so you can, you know, if you want to get more of what you've seen so far and heard so far. I have an annual sacred membership, which is all online, and it's got over 100 hours of content. It also has my best-selling book, Animals in the Afterlife, which is on Amazon. That's a recording of it, by the way.
This is.
Yes. It also has my best-selling book, How Psychic Are You? 7 Simple Steps to Opening Your Psychic Gifts, plus the workbook. It also has my best-selling book, which is on Amazon, Learn Animal Communication and Telepathy, plus the workbook. But it has over 100 hours of healing meditations, animal communication practices, psychic development practices, opening your Akashic records. I mean, there's rich content in here that you would pay thousands and thousands of dollars for. Anyway, it's a year-long access. If you go to the website, it's $444. If you register for it today, I'll give you 50% off. So that's $222, right? You can ask Carolina about that. Did I say Christina before?
Yes.
I'm sorry.
It's all
I
right.
keep doing that, Carolina. The other thing I want to make available, this is all of my workshops. They're all online workshops that I do. And when you do them, you get access to the workshop at home for life, right? You can study at your own pace. But the big ones that you guys in this room would most likely be most interested in are the animal communication and telepathy classes, level 1, level 2, animals in the afterlife class, and one of the best in my opinion, vibrational energy healing and meditation with and for animals. It's a healing class, and if you've ever meditated with an animal, you know this is what happens to them while you're meditating, and they're awake. With you, they are meditating. And you might see their eyes doing this, because they're not dreaming, they're meditating. Because even if you look at them and you're like, they'll open their eyes. They're totally with you. Anyway, but plus it's really healing for animals because we learn how to bring them to a still point. Anyway, you learn all about healing animals as well. So if you're interested in any of those classes today, those 3 classes, all of the ones I just mentioned, are $595 online. If you want to join and get access to them online, I'll give you $200 off if you register today and join today. That's a really amazing deal. And those classes are so full. This is 3 hours. Imagine having, 40 hours of this. That's basically what it is. They're not all 40 hours, but 3 times. Some of them are maybe 20 hours, the smallest one. But the content, the richness of the content, and the advanced level of what you get with me, I think I'm bragging rights. It's really beyond basic. It's very advanced, rich, deep, juicy content that you will love. So anyway, you can ask more about that. I just wanted to let you know.
And these are all separate classes.
They're separate classes, and you can ask us more. This is just more like
And
maybe
is
that.
1 and 2 together?
No, they're all separate.
Okay.
So level 1, animal communication and telepathy. Vibrational energy healing is a separate class with animals, and meditation with and for humans and animals. It's a healer class. And then it's like healing for humans and animals, basically, and meditation. And then there's animals in the afterlife as a class. And then there's also locating lost animals through telepathy. And that's got also dowsing in it, learning how to connect with animals and locate them.
And that's different than signing up for the membership, is that?
That's different. The membership is it's got everything across it's everything psychic, everything metaphysical, animal communication, your star family races, meditation, DNA activations, sacred key code activations. It's so much richness in that sacred membership for a year access.
And you're doing it
But
at
it's
half
not your workshop.
And it's half off. But it's not my workshops. But I will say that has 1 workshop in it. It has 1 full workshop in that year long, and that is called The Secret Energy of Money and the Spiritual Laws of Wealth, aka Susie Orman Doesn't Know Crap. When I wrote that, I got a lot of criticism back then because people love Susie Orman, but of course that was like before everybody realized the banks were all scamming you and it was all big conspiracy, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, and that's got live energy healing too around issues of abundance and wealth and prosperity. So that is a full course that's in the sacred membership. But these full courses are basically none of them, they're separate standalones. Okay? All right, awesome. So let me ask, we're going to do, I think we have a choice now of the experiential part. We can either do a meditation where we connect with our own animal. We can do a meditation where we do healing for the animals on the planet. Or I could do some little mini readings or help you guys with your own animals. You can just ask questions on that. What do you guys generally prefer? We have a little bit more than a half an hour. About a half an hour.
Option 1 for me.
Option 1 was a meditation to
Connect with your own
connect with your own animal.
Can we do like 15 minutes of that
I
and
don't
then
know,
15
there's not
minutes
enough
of...
time. This is
Okay.
why, it's a weekend course. I swear. The one thing I do want to say, somebody said, I want to tell my animal not to take stuff on. You can't do that, it's just energy. If you're vibrating something from your thoughts and your emotions, and this energy is vibrating out. It's like telling the laws of energy not to apply. This energy is vibrating out. The animal's in your environment. He feels it. He picks it up. He takes it on. It's not like you can tell. It's like me telling you.
But my dog lives in New York.
It doesn't
so-
matter. It's like me telling you don't feel that. Sorry. I can't tell you don't feel something you feel. Animal communicators do it all the time. I think it's the biggest joke. I'm like, they're failing their client. If they think that, then the client goes, it doesn't work. And even when you tell animals, don't do this or do that, it's sort of like, if you're a smoker and I say, don't smoke.
That's so helpful.
Yeah, I mean, you can tell animals they have a free will. There's a lot of times there's reasons they're doing it. Even if you tell them don't be afraid of lightning, for example, or firecrackers, it's okay, it's safe, you're safe. They're feeling this in their body, and it might be some past life memory that they have when they were in an explosion and they died. You know, or don't be afraid in the car, but meanwhile in some other lifetime, they were in a car accident and they're here to heal that trauma. So telling them not to do something is like telling your kid to eat spinach when he won't. I mean, it's not that you can't ever do it. It does sometimes work, but it's not a guarantee. So, rarely, I find that telling them is more, this is stuff we go into in the classes, but really how to problem solve is by identifying what's at the root core. What is the higher purpose behind that issue that's going on? And finding a way to resolve that at the root cause, bringing in the awareness of it, and then as it's solved, then it suddenly transcends. That's what we go into in the courses. It's like, how do you identify the purpose, the higher purpose between why an animal is eating his poop, or eating rocks, or barking at the door incessantly, or, you know, taking on some illness, or getting lost, or whatever it is. What is the root cause issue that's creating it in the first place? And how is this somehow linked into the human? What is being called for? That's what we go into in the courses. Anyway, I hope that's helpful, because you asked me.
Yeah, I got it. I got the information.
But even distance, when you're at a distance, just because he's out there somewhere, if he's living with his family or how, you know, there's still reasons for it, higher purposes. All right, I get that there's more to it.
No, I got my answer.
Okay, all right,
Yeah,
good. Well, you're
I think the
sorry.
third one's a good idea where you can get different animal readings from everybody and we can.
All right, so I have a vote for one, I have a vote for three. So let's do it, just, sometimes I don't do it by vote, but I don't know, it's such a small group, relatively small group, we can kind of do it that way. So if you want one where you just want to do a meditation to connect with an animal, raise your hand.
Now you mean your own animal?
Yeah.
What if you don't have an animal?
Vote for number two.
Well, we can assign a collective, that's another thing.
Well, I mean, like, I could connect to my mother's animal.
You know?
But I didn't know if that
All right.
counted, right? I mean, I'm
If
just
you want
asking.
to do a meditation to healing for the animals of the earth, that's not flying too high, sorry. And then if you'd rather just guidance for your own animals.
Super selfish here.
All right, I think it looks like number 3 is gonna go. So, okay, let's do it. Who wants guidance for your own animal? All right, you voted for that one big time, right? So we'll get to everybody, we have enough time. More or less, I think, I hope. All right, so what's your animal's name?
Samson.
Okay, so can you guys see Samson?
Oh.
It's hard.
Was he a boxer?
Full mess.
Oh, okay.
Okay, now, so do you want to ask you want something
Very
specific?
specific.
Okay, get specific.
Okay.
It's better for me, because if I have a half an hour, I can go in there, but
Right.
if you
I mean,
have
I'd love
5
to know
minutes.
what he specifically wants to say to me, if you think that's important.
And can you tell me your name?
I'm Jan.
Oh, yeah, I know, Jan. Okay, Jan, this has to do with the issues associated with personal power. Power and authority. This is a major issue between you two. It's not even like power issues between you, but you both are learning. I use the word learning, but it's on some level you all already know. But it's how you deal with your power, how you use and apply your power. And part of his message is peaceful warrior, holding the power in peace. Does this make sense to you?
Yeah.
And also abuse of power related to men around you and in your environment. Does this make sense to you too? Men who have abused their power, male aspect, where you've given your power to them. Does this make sense?
Yeah.
And this is part of what you're here resolving. So his awareness, it's almost like part of what he's saying to me is don't let these people in the house anymore. Does this make sense? Let me translate it better.
No, I understand what you're saying, but I don't let a lot of people like that into
Ah.
my house at all.
Oh, that's what it is. That's your energy. You're not letting people in the house. I get it. You won't let those people in the house.
Right.
So there's a protection that's coming from a place of fear. Does this make sense?
From me, my fear?
Energetically, it's
Okay,
there.
got it.
And he's the peaceful warrior in a sense, keeping the peace and letting it be safe. Does this make sense?
Yeah.
Because there's a fear. So I'm translating without kind of telling you what he's giving me and showing me. In a class with more time, I would explain more what I'm getting and why I'm getting all that. But
No, I get it. Can I just channel that into one simple
Yeah.
question that'll be, lately, he's afraid to go in the backyard, and I'm wondering if other critters are coming. And I mean, I have a giant backyard, but lately he just won't go out. He'll stop at the door, front and back door, and he's afraid to go out there. And I have no evidence that any animal has gotten intruded.
it's not an animal. It's not that.
Wow. Okay,
Jan, it's your fear.
okay.
You're afraid to go outside. You're afraid of the external world. Do you have allergies?
No, but I get what you're saying, okay.
You're afraid. You're
I-
carrying
you've
that
just answered
fear
what I
of
need to
dealing
know.
with the external
Thank you.
reality.
Okay, I've got it.
So this is what, in a healing session, we need to resolve. We're
Okay.
saying but through the healing journey, you transmute that energy. So I'm asking you, as he's asking me, ask her what happened to her. I hear what happened, but I'm not sure if it's this lifetime or another.
Okay,
But it's an abuse of male power that took your power away from you.
okay,
Are you very clear on what it was?
I
Do you
am.
know? I am too.
okay. Thank
So,
I've got one for you.
okay, I wanna go over here since she was the one who, is that okay?
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Do you have a
that's
picture?
good. Yes, actually, I don't have.
Oh,
it.
all right, well, give me a name.
Tiny, it's a little part Siamese cat, it's like a cat.
So is something specifically going on with Tiny?
Well,
But before
actually,
you tell me, can you tell me your name?
My name's Cynthia.
So let me tell you why it's important to ask the names. When you have an animal whose name, in this case Tiny, or whatever their name is, there's a frequency that's consciousness of that animal. The animal's not limited to here or there, this place or that place. What I need to do is tune into that consciousness. So there's a lot of animals named Tiny. You know what I mean? So I need Tiny who lives with this person's name, and I know the location is generally here, or else sometimes it's in the afterlife. I'm just tuning into that frequency of that consciousness. That's why it's important. Sometimes I can do it with just a picture, but it's helpful to know the name of the human and the animal to identify that consciousness. So can you say your name?
My name's Cynthia, I also
Cynthia.
use another name, Raven, in my
Raven.
work. I use two names.
So, and what's going on? I already have this. No, I've got this. So what's going on with Tiny?
Well, this kitten has got a lot of anger in her eyes, and I know what kind of caused it because I
Okay,
keep-
don't give me any, can I give you what I have? Because
Yeah.
if you start telling me. So, what I understand from this, I'm gonna translate this, and you're gonna have to take it as it applies. You see, you're a very powerful woman, and you have, in some cases, made yourself tiny, less than you are, but really you're not. You're incredibly powerful. So this cat is processing that part of you that's angry about making yourself small, because you also know your power. So in a sense, it's like, how do I process this anger for my human? That's what I'm hearing. How do I process this resentment for my human without, and I'm trying also to keep, there's also interference. So your cat is really super psychic too, right? Like multi-dimensional awareness. Cats have that, they can see through other dimensions. So saying, how do I keep these bad things away? It's like he's making an attempt, I'm asking, what are the bad things? And he's seeing like entities. So a lot of times cats can do that. So have you play with psychic stuff, right? You yourself know yourself to be psychic in some level?
Yes.
Yes, I get that. That's what your cat's saying. So she's really powerful, and yet she's making herself small. And meanwhile, there's things coming into the house and into the environment. So there's this one aspect of I'm angry because I'm powerful. My human is powerful but small, making herself small but powerful but small. And at the same time, she's playing with stuff. Stuff's coming into the house. Entities, non-physical intruders from other dimensions. This is weakening, and so the cat's trying to sort of clean them, but they're interfering. It's interference. Does this make sense?
Well, it kind of does. That wasn't what I was thinking about it at the time, but, you know, I've never had a cat that had anger inside. Not really.
Well,
So
I
we
mean,
don't
they're
like
always
cats
they're
there.
always emphasizing the emotion that we have that we're not being. They're almost always emphasizing the emotion that we have that we're not conscious of in
I think
ourselves.
that I was angry at this cat.
Yes.
Is what happened, but I
Yes.
wasn't real angry, but I kept putting it out of the room because I have a cat that doesn't like this cat, so I keep this cat
That other
out
cat
of
who
the
doesn't
room
like
from-
that cat is reflecting the aspect of you that doesn't like that cat too.
And so now I've started being aware of that, and I thought I need to make up to this cat.
Yes.
Because it's now got issues that are psychological, it's an angry cat. So, and it happened by me to keep putting it out, putting it out, putting it out. And so now when it comes in, boy, it comes in with a vengeance.
Right.
It's in there.
So what is the solution? And the solution, number one, Ho'oponopono is a good one. You know, guys, on the Ho'oponopono, right? But, I mean, just overall forgiveness. And the thing is, this is what I'm also getting from this cat. This is really interesting. Did you have a sister or a sibling that you were also kind of at odds with at some point? Do you?
Well, I mean, I actually have a brother, but I mean, I have a granddaughter there and a daughter there.
The brother? How'd you get along with the brother when you were younger?
Well, I thought he didn't think we got along
Okay.
very good.
It's the resolution. You're working through that with the cat. Sibling rivalry that was not resolved when you were young, was not really fully addressed. So the cat has an awareness. This pattern exists, and this pattern needs to be resolved. So it's playing out favoritism. Was there favoritism? That's favoritism. The parents in your house played favoritism?
Well, yes, you might say that.
Yes. So this cat's acting as a healer in a sense. But at the same time, there's interference of these shadow aspects that I feel like entities. So there's a few things to address there. One is clearing entities. I mean, saging the home's good.
Clean those entities 1,000 times. It's a
I mean,
real
also,
feeling.
whenever you clear an entity, you have to replace the space energetically, because we're in an experience of space. So you clear an entity, you replace it. Creator, bring your love and your light and your consciousness into this space. Just the prayer of it, the request of it is great. That's part of it. Also do some...
There's a person that comes in there that lives there that's got some
that's-
alcohol and.
Yes, that's the entities, demonics. I even heard demonics and I filtered it out. Whenever you're dealing with addictions, you're always dealing with demonics. Always. Well, okay, maybe I can't always say only demonics. It could just be entities, but almost always. It's because they're the ones that are actually creating the addiction. They want the physical body, they don't have it, and they're like, drink, drink, drink. So the soul has to kind of exit, the consciousness of the being sort of exits. I'm not really in my body, and then it can sort of take over and be like, let's have fun! Let's act like craziness. And then when it kind of leaves, because you start returning home, you're like, what's going on? That's the addiction, right? But it's an entity, it's an evasion. So that's going on. Yeah, that person in your household's probably not. I'm surprised that your cat didn't point that out. Just ask. Yeah, that's part of the shadow aspects coming in and out. Identifying them as entities, but also, so he knows it's entities, but it's, yeah, I'm surprised he didn't point directly to the human, because I get that human's not good for your environment. So part of what you might wanna consider doing is like just a prayer to the divine, more than once obviously, to help you to find an ideal roommate, wish that person well, and,
Well, that's the roommate, this is the son-in-law.
oh, that's the son-in-law. Yeah, so these things are part of what needs to be resolved. I mean, and I hope that's helpful. Okay. But I get this is part of your own power too, you coming into your power. You know, because we're all coming into our power, we're all resolving issues at this time, things that have been, we've been powerless over, so. It's not about power over, but it is about like, what is for my highest and best? What's for my highest and best at this time, the highest and best of my animals, and my home, my life? And how do we let that come to pass? You know, how do we line up with that energetically in a way that just, you know, feels good and right? That's not, we're not harming anyone, but just that we're, you know, we all have a right to live a better, higher and better life. Not out of arrogance or entitlement, but more like breathing into it to let it be. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
All right, let's do yours.
Thank you.
Is this helpful to you guys?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Very.
Oh my. What's this dog's name?
Destiny.
Is she a girl?
Yes.
I see. And your name?
Dina.
Is she a darter?
If she gets out of the house, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I have what she wants to give me already, but I don't know if that's what you're wanting. So could you have a specific question?
I just need to know why she's the most anxious, fearful dog I've ever encountered in many years of rescue. Veterinary technician, I have never had a dog with this many problems. And I do communicate with animals, but for some reason she's blocked me.
Okay, before she came to you, what she's showing me is I lived with a pot smoker who was unpredictable and erratic and uncaring. It's like she's showing me like Rasta. Rasta, didn't take care of nothing, didn't feed me. This is what like the voice is. And so there was nothing predictable, nothing I could trust, nothing I could count on, nothing I could rely on. I didn't always get fed even. And so that's the trauma that's looking to be cleared. And I'm asking her, why this human? Dina, why this human? Because she's the first one, she picked you, who's strong enough. She says you can toe the line. You're strong, you're her like leading tower. But she says, you're also learning trust. And you also don't have trust, you have trust issues.
Absolutely.
That opens the heart. So this is what you're here to resolve together. So it's gonna become an issue of developing trust through a discernment and also to remove the walls, your walls, of we can't trust, so we have a wall up. Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
Okay. So also, just for people who are learning animal communication, as you're listening to me, I mean, see what you pick up, like even through the names, what you just tune in. I mean, there's no attachment to being right? Because ultimately, this is the one thing I know, what develops your gifts best is when you have a sincere desire to be of service. Like, we didn't really talk about that, because I think that's an obvious in these rooms, but that really is, like, I just want to help. I just want to do whatever I can to really be of service and realize that I'm not attached to being right. If the person says no, I'll be like, okay, let me go back. Let me see if I can clarify. You know what I mean? Like, that's one of the basic steps. You just want to be of service. It's not like you have to be right. What are you picking up that might offer some help to this person and this animal? You know, like, someone else want? Okay.
Yeah.
That was very, very helpful because the woman who fostered her, she was found on the road at 4 weeks of age. nobody knows what happened to her. She's 4 weeks, so she wasn't weaned or anything. But the woman who fostered her, I think has mental issues. And because she also is an animal rescuer, I got to know her very well. She fostered her, and that dog, it took me a year to get her kennel trained. But the particular individual that had her, I have sensed that there was something that happened to her prior to this, and you just verified it. Now I know exactly what happened.
But, so at 4 weeks, she was picked up by somebody, and then she had a foster for a
Yeah, it
while?
was the foster that did the problems. The foster's the one that created the issues.
Right, I get it. Okay, so this cat, what is this cat? Oh my God, there's two of these hugging.
Yeah, there's Grace on the left.
I didn't get it.
And Gigi on the right, and my name is Kendall.
Kendall?
Kendall.
Kendall.
It's a, Grace and Gigi.
Okay, do you have something in particular with them? I already know their big thing is like more time in nature.
Uh-huh.
They really are loving life. They enjoy you. You love them. There's a lot of, I mean, it's kind of obvious, right?
Do you have any life lessons for me?
I think the big thing is you're also, you know, you're not in this room if you're not really a strong person. You know, we're all in our, coming into our power. Otherwise we'd be, you know, somewhere at home watching TV saying I have no power. You know, this is what you do on a Sunday, this kind of stuff. When you, but she's saying you're like a very powerful woman and you're starting to open up your awareness. This is coming from Grace about you. She's starting to really open up her mind to learn new things and to come into new awarenesses, and she hasn't yet discovered that she's a healer and she's meant to go out and work with the plants and talk to nature. And
Maybe she wants to come along for the ride.
And she wants to hang out with you in the garden.
just, she says, it's like essential oils are lighting up and nature spirits, and like that you learn to talk to them because you have, and she just loves being around you because she learns from your learning. Like she's just saying to me, everything's starting to open up and it's getting so much nicer. Did you recently, well no, I know it wasn't recently, hold on, because she said no, not recently. Is there a male figure that left the house or?
No, this, my mom lives with me in the winter. She just recently got to go back to Pennsylvania.
Did she, oh, that's interesting. She's sort of a, what's her name?
Donna.
Masculine energy?
Okay, she's strong.
Yeah, okay. She said that's made life a little nicer.
But she's gone.
A little easier,
Oh.
say, I have to rephrase it, a little easier.
She's got some grieving going on, so it
Okay.
adds an energy layer to it.
Yes. Okay, so that validates, does that make sense?
Barbara?
I would love to say something about, food. Do you guys wanna hear a little bit about food?
Yes, yeah, please.
And then we have like maybe 5 minutes, right? 5 minutes or so? I guess I get to go till 5, is that right?
Yes.
Oh, okay, all right, I didn't know if I had to wrap up 5 minutes more. Okay, so we have time, that's good. Yeah, I wanna say something about food. I'm such a big, I have a book on Amazon also, which is also in the Sacred Membership, called Stop Feeding Me Junk, Superfoods for You and Your Pets. And I would invite every one of you also, please go to my YouTube and watch one of my more recent videos on superfoods for you and your pets. It's a 15-minute video. I show you everything you can, you know, the basics of our diet. And I show you, you know, what I give my dog, and for dogs and cats, the brands, the supplements, the image, where to get them. It's 15 minutes that will save you thousands of dollars in vet bills, as far as I'm concerned, and the life of your pet. So, I mean, because energy is the issue of illness, but food on a physical level is the core issue, right? Food and water. So, as far as I'm concerned, if it's in a bag or a can, like dried food in a bag is a theft of life. If it's kibble, I don't care what the vet says. I don't care that they're selling it on the shelves. I don't care that they're marketing to you on a commercial saying, it's the best food there is, 90% protein or what, it's a scam. Because dried food in a bag, that's kibble, goes into the body and gets processed like carbohydrates. And cats and dogs do not eat carbohydrates in the wild. They're bred from wild wolves and wild cats, and they hunt other wild animals, and they eat raw meat. So if it's a dried food, when it goes into the body, that kibble is a cookie, the body processes it. Doesn't matter that it's made up of 30% protein, process it as a sugar, a carbohydrate, and that on a physical level leads to all kinds of physical issues by the time the dog starts or the cat starts getting 8, 9, they have hot spots and itchy spots and skin issues and all kinds of other issues because they're not being properly nourished. Now, canned foods are no better because the canned food is processed crap. Kind of processed in the same way through the body. So I remember something I'll share with you, that when my dog Kenya died, she said to me, this was one of the most heartbreaking things. There were 2 things she said to me that were absolutely heartbreaking, but this is what, you learn when you're gonna be a teacher and stuff. But one of the things was she said, I never liked the food. But we're laughing, but imagine, she said, imagine going through your whole life as a dog, never, ever being happy with a single bite.
What'd you feed her?
Dried food.
Dried
I
food,
did
okay.
what the vets said.
Okay.
What those dried food companies give her the same bag on for life. This for life. I believed it. And it was heartbreaking the way it was communicated to me. And she said, I'm not trying to hurt you, Mommy. I'm trying to tell you because I know you will tell other people. Please don't, no animals like that dried crap. They don't. Even when they eat it, it's kind of like, I was taught later from a lot of animals who lived on healthier foods and stuff, what they would say is even if they eat only the kibble and that's all they'll eat, it's because if you raise your kid on McDonald's and then you try to give him spinach, he still wants the McDonald's.
Right.
And it's that their taste buds get used to that. It's converting to sugar and you get addicted to the sugar. And even if you try a week of eating bread, you will see your body keeps craving more carbohydrates. But if you eat a week of just eating beans, you're not hungry. You have more energy. You're going to the bathroom healthier. You're processing. You're dropping pounds. You're gaining some just from a few days even. If you just eat beans and spinach versus bread and pasta. That is 2 totally different experiences. So anyway, that's the basics. Raw food, and it is a lot more money, but the good news is that more and more raw food, pet foods are being made. So you can get dehydrated raw, so you can carry it with you and it can sit on a shelf, or you can buy frozen raw in the pet store, or if that's too far out of your budget, you get a species-appropriate diet, which, by the way, are in my book, Superfoods for You and Your Pets, which is in that workshop, in that whole thing. But you get the recipe and you make a month's supply one day. You take an hour out of your 1 month and you make 4 containers. You freeze 3 containers. 1 week is at a time in the fridge, and you take out just what they need for that week. And you make it homemade using an appropriate recipe. And then it's still affordable. It's still more money than dried food, but if you compare it to vet bills and stress and anxiety from the dog or the cat or the animal getting sick, and then you pay the animal communicator to find out what's going on, and you pay the healer, and you're driving back and forth to the vet, gas bills, stress, nervousness, the whole thing. The raw food's a lot cheaper. So that's the first thing. And supplements, gotta have spirulina, gotta have chlorella. These things you don't even have to write down. They're on the YouTube video free. Just go watch it. It's all in there. I mean, I just can't tell you enough. But raw food is the basic, right, for cats and dogs. So,
What if they can't handle it?
what makes you think they can't handle it?
Well, because she's tried a lot of different things, the dehydrated stuff, and she just still has her digestive issues, so.
Okay, so digestive issues, upset belly. This is the 3rd chakra power center, right? Personal power. I can't digest my personal power. I can't receive information, and I can't release what I need to release. There was a blockage here, personal power. I'm not digesting information and energy, right? That's the core issue. But then what needs to be addressed is issues energetically related to that topic area for the human who lives and the humans who are connected to that animal. As that's processed energetically, the food also will be more digestible. But if you're talking about that, there's always a solution. And it's never going to be something that's unhealthy. There's always a solution. It might be looking for more probiotics, might be part of it. It might need a little bit of a detox. Colloidal silver is great for some of that stuff. It depends, right? That's more like a private session helps with that. But
Yeah.
it's not that she can't eat something healthier. It's that something else might need to be addressed also. When you're talking about digestive and indigestion, you might want to start with something as gentle and simple like bone broth. Bone broth is so healthy for animals, especially when they have upset belly. Does that make sense? Is that helpful? A
Yeah,
little bit? I get that there's more there.
Yeah.
But even in the way, tell me your name?
Cindy?
Cindy. And so how honest and straightforward can I be with you?
Absolutely.
Okay, because I appreciate that. So even in the way I share with you, when I'm sharing with you, the receptivity is this. Yeah, but I'm blocked here. Because someone who's really receiving through here is like, yeah. Did you see this yeah? That really helps. That's yeah.
And it's,
And yeah, here there's a block. Yeah.
because in some aspect, I want to say because I feel powerless,
Yes.
because the dog is not in,
That's right.
the dog is with my ex.
That's
In-
right. Okay,
in
good. So not
abstain.
good, but so let's go
At
here. That's
abstain,
personal power.
Yeah,
That's the issue of power.
right.
And what is that? That right there, there's an attachment. That dog's with him. I'm attached. So now this attachment is becomes an energetic entanglement. We're supposed to be together. We're not together. This needs to be somehow resolved. And at the root core, what's the resolution? You don't know. If you knew, you'd do it. But that's why we tap into the higher realms to ask. One thing I can give this to everybody in the room, no matter what your problem is, there's a solution. But it's not something that you necessarily can figure out as a human in the experience, because you're in this, I have my problems. When I have it, I'm like, God, I cannot handle this problem. I do not have the solution. I have meditated, I've prayed, take this problem. You need to solve this. And if you do that in a sacred ritual of yourself, doesn't even have to be a big deal. I do it when I'm walking through the kitchen, making breakfast, I'm going over it in my head, this is too much. I've been on this for like years now. You need to take this. And then every time it comes into my mind, I'm like, God, obviously you haven't solved this yet, consciousness, because it's in my mind still a problem. Take it, find the solution, bring it into my consciousness. I'm fiery like that. But that might not be your style. I mean, when I'm really in my sadness, I'm humble. I'm on the floor like other people, having my hit the floor moment. Please, someone, you need to help me with this. Whatever it is. Those aren't the best energies to ask for help. But when you really need help, the non-physical realm responds. It does. But you have to ask, because there's a law of free will. So just give it to God and sort of saying, please, don't put yourself in the state of begging. Just, you need to take this and find a solution, please. Thank you. And every time it comes into my mind, I'm going to give it back to you until it's done and resolved in the highest and best ways.
Right.
The highest and best ways. The highest and best and most benevolent ways. Ideally with harm to none. Right? With harm to none. Make sense?
Yes.
Okay. I got 5 minutes. 4 minutes? Is that helpful?
Oh.
Is that helpful? You're very quiet.
My name is Bondia, and the dog's name's Brahma.
Brahma?
Brahma. Like Shiva, Brahma, and Vishnu.
Brahma, and tell me your name?
My spiritual name is Bondia.
Bandia?
Bondia.
Vandia.
Bondia.
And is that the name you go by 24/7?
No,
What's
I'm
your name?
moving to it. It's Jan Cecily.
Oh, Jan.
Cecily.
Okay, so do you have something specific?
Yeah, he's hiding from me now. I mean, he doesn't want to go out when she goes out. When I call him, he won't come. He's hiding under the bed.
Oh, God, you're so Okay, I totally do get that.
He has a sister.
Just a second, just hold on. All right, first of all, can you guys see in this picture, is it okay if I pass for people? You can see the green eyes in the picture?
Mm-hmm.
When I see green eyes in the picture, you can't do, this isn't telepathic, it's just because I'm psychic, I've been doing this for so many years. So you can't rely on it, but I'm just sharing something that I've learned. Usually green eyes mean there's entities. That's not normal. And if you look at this dog's eyes too, one's sort of closed and one's sort of I just asked, is that true, real, right? Because it's not absolutely true, but typically I've learned that. So let me just say what I got. Cross-eyed. What do you mean cross-eyed? Cross. What do you mean cross? Why are you cross? Angry. Why are you angry? She's mad at men.
That's what I figured.
So he's representing the male,
Right.
and they're hiding from you because you're alienating the male. So this is like a reunion, and it's so funny because your name also is, say your
Vondia.
Yeah. So I always know, because I do names too. I have a whole class on sacred names. I'm going to pass this back to you. That names also have energy, and I just know this from names, right? What is the big V when a person's name has a V?
Victory?
Well, it is victory, but
Giant
it's also the
woman.
big vagine.
Yeah.
The vagine. So when a person have, like Vanessa, it means to have a strong feminine energy. It's just, look, everybody translates their psychic stuff differently, but I've learned that when there's a V in a name, strong feminine energy. V, strong, victory, yes, victory of the woman. So that was one of the things that was lighting up more psychically, not so much from your animal. It's just, I don't block anything out, just what comes in. I mean, when I'm doing telepathy, I'm getting straight from the animal, but other stuff comes in too. And that came in as well for you. Like, you've got this really strong feminine energy, you're reuniting with your feminine, you named your dog and cat, two dogs, Shakti or, yeah, okay, thank you. I forgot what those were. But the point is like Shiva, like, you know.
And she's
Shiva.
the female.
You're alienating. So it's the overall message is to bring union. Because the true powerful women of our ascension, and I'm going to wrap now because I know we're up of time, but us coming into our power is the reunification of our divine feminine and our divine masculine. That's the real power that's coming. So as we women are reclaiming our sacred feminine, and we talked about this yesterday a little, as we reunify, we're not letting go that masculine, we're actually bringing the men up who need to also reclaim their feminine. Through our reunification process, that comes into harmony. All masculine and feminine, yin yang, comes back into harmony. So that's the overall message. I mean, that's not all straight telepathy with your dog, but nonetheless, that's what I
He's
get.
hiding because I'm angry at man.
Yes.
Yeah, he ran away.
So the request is to clear, heal, and resolve that. Make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, was this helpful for you guys?
Yes.
I want to thank you so much, and I know Christina can help you. Carolina. I'm hanging out there. I feel like she's my soul sister.